If you think you got more shots than CG, come and try your luck. If you ain't never the crate of a grenade, shut the fuck up. On papers, full of ARP. What it do, chat? Cause you know I'm gonna do. You know that you a fool. Cause these hoes, they know they lost. Meg, what it do, my lady? What it do, young Meg? How was your day? I just got off an unexpected shift. Wasn't even supposed to work. Well, I misread the damn. It was my fault. I misread the schedule and stuff. Today was productive, yes. Damn. I got a few things in today too. Got a couple of calls made that I needed to make. And, I don't have insurance anymore, man. That shit crazy. Like, I gotta get some insurance, man. I gotta get permanent with this job now. Like, shit crazy. I part time, they don't give you no benefits.
Oh man, we're back. This time I had to bring one of my favorite new Jacksonville artists, man. And it sucks because I recently found out about you through, the Julio situation. And I heard the song Flashing Lights, and I grew up liking it too. And, it sucks something bad had to happen for you to get so much recognition, but,
Hygiene bad.
I can't call it. I ain't gonna lie. Shit be up and down, Some days good, some days bad. Still going, still real shit. I ain't complaining.
Well, what's your mental space been like since,
man, I love some green alcohol fresh out the shower.
Julio.
Honestly, shit, I can't even really say like shit. It ain't easy. It damn sure ain't easy. Niggas be going through it some days. Shit, some days niggas be going alright, some days I be fucked up. I can't really call it shit.
Yeah. No, I understand.
Yeah, this the stuff right here.
Covered all the way.
Yeah.
It smells so, bro. It have a nostalgia. It take me back to
I got like a little nerve and like Maurice and shit.
the early 2000s, my grandma crib type shit. Like, I'm talking about, and she used to have that watery coconut butter, coconut butter oil.
All the bullets I got a lot of like fragments and shit, but they really ain't nothing to do like that. So shit. But I don't feel them bitches and shit. I ain't tripping.
Don't the fragments come out on their own over time?
It depends on how big they is. Like they like micro, like they probably like this big. So I don't know shit. Like all the wounds and shit closed. So I doubt they'll be coming out anytime soon.
What were you shot with? Do you know what you were shot with?
Yeah, I just know them bitches hurt. Shit.
So you don't know if it was like a 9mm or like a 7.62 or anything?
I ain't really look into it. I really ain't give a fuck, honestly. I was just glad to be alive.
Man, straight up, man. It's a blessing. Have you been following the Julio trial?
Not at all. Yeah, no. Not at all.
Exactly. You don't want to be reminded of
that shit. Red sitting in his back.
Yeah.
Arthritis, inflammation, yeah. And it just smells. Woo! It smells so good.
When people try to update you about the trial, is it just like or whatever? Like you tell people, hey, I don't I don't really want to hear about it or.
I don't pay no attention like shit. That I feel like questions and shit. I just brush it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have the Tampa police or Jacksonville police, did they ever try to sit you down, interrogate you, and get any question you?
Yeah, man. Not saying like shit. They had me a couple questions like the night I got shot. Other than that, no.
Yeah. Man, hey, I feel like you're a hell of a rapper though. Like, I pay real close attention to you, and it was like times where you were consistent and you would just stop rapping.
Yeah.
Like, is this because of real life? Is this because of
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Like shit just be going on. Shit, I
Jacksonville.
went to jail a couple times last year.
what?
I just got off. I just did 9 months on house arrest. I just got off this week. So yeah, shit be going on. Shit,
What you go to jail for last year?
some stupid shit. Some stupid shit. Some shit I shouldn't have did. Not too crazy though.
I feel like the Jacksonville rap scene. I feel like Julio was the worst thing that happened to the Jacksonville rap scene. Rest in peace to Lil Papa too.
Man, I'm crazy, man.
Julio passed away.
Tripping.
The Jacksonville rap scene hasn't been the same. Do you agree with that?
Yo, this shit drama. Like, yo, this shit ass. I ain't gonna lie. This shit ass. This shit boring as fuck.
So you feel like Julio, he brought the energy to Jacksonville. He kept it alive. He kept it exciting.
Of course. Shit. Niggas made it trend on hating him. So shit. And yo, he really kept this shit going. Shit.
Hey, it's fine, man.
Yeah, all little shit. Niggas see what happened after he passed.
That's okay.
Dry. It's fuck.
I can't wait to see it.
I feel like
I be just looking at myself
the part where
sometimes.
you left off. I feel like you definitely had the music, but you don't do the antics. You're not online, and I talk about this a lot, like on my personal blog. Like, if you're a good rapper, but you're not doing the antics and create beef and talking hella shit, being vocal,
just start, and you gonna just get used to it.
And I feel like that's what you're missing. I feel like you're not on the rah-rah shit. You're just strictly music, as artists should be. But when you're just strictly music, people tend to sleep on artists like that.
Yo, I mean, all honestly, bro, I don't be caring for the shit. Like, I don't be caring for the shit. I'm not. You're not gonna catch me on the internet arguing with no niggas for real. I don't really, you feel me? Unless I genuinely feel played watch some shit, which is rare. I don't be giving a fuck for real. Like, unless I genuinely feel played about some shit, you really not gonna see me say nothing about it. It don't be no point. Like, shit, I let my music do talk. Anything that I feel, I'm put that shit in the pool. Shit.
What's my name?
So it really don't be no point. Huh? That's what we call juice chasing. I don't like chasing that juice, bro.
Over the
I don't be giving a fuck. There's a lot of shit that's going on. There's a lot of shit I hear about myself. A lot of shit niggas say about me. You feel me? It's a lot of shit. I say a lot on the blog, like bar and like Julio and shit, bro. And it's like, yo, yeah, irritate me, but at the end of the day, like, shit, fuck them. I ain't gonna get on the internet, go back and forth. Don't think especially I don't even be knowing half even if you say nothing to them. So shit, there's no point, shit. I'm just.
Do you feel like? Yeah. Do you feel like people's hatred towards you is just because your affiliation with Julio?
more than a shame. It's the first thing people notice.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Driver! Open the car door! Let me see your hands! Sit. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Walk back to me.
Oh boy, they didn't even know that was gonna be the last motherfucking time.
We have a warrant for your arrest. Out there front door with nothing in your hands. You're not going away. Hands up! Put your hands up. You guys, come on now, hands up. Put your hands up. Bring it to the officer. Yeah. Yep. Put your hands up! Put your hands in the air! Hands up! Hands in the air! Hands in the air! Alright, slowly walk toward me! Let's go! Right here, right here! Walk right here, let's go! Yeah. Walk this way, this is the instructions. Yeah. Hey, keep your hands up and walk out towards me! Hey! Over here!
I'm back. Dang, man. I'm tired. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm really sleepy. I ain't gonna lie. They playing the fuck out of this game. I can't play it. Subnautica? Bro, they literally just floating underwater. I can't do that. Remember Bear?
15 years ago, one man completely monopolized the global survival industry.
Hey, I remember
Edward
this
Bear
guy.
Grylls.
What happened to him?
Kayak told me hotel prices just dropped. Now I can
What it do,
finally
chat?
stop scrolling
Much
for
love to
travel
you,
hacks.
chat. YouTube about to spin me in that algorithm, huh? Keep going, keep going, keep going. Please. I know I'm gonna sleep good tonight. I haven't been sleep since I woke up 5:30. Damn. You been up. I've been up. What time I woke up? I've been up since like 7. Yup.
15 years ago, one man completely monopolized the global survival industry. Edward Bear Grylls leveraged his background in the British Special Air Service to build a television empire that reached over a billion viewers across 200 countries.
Yeah.
At his peak, his signature orange and gray survival knife was the highest grossing piece of outdoor gear on the planet. But if you walk into a serious wilderness outfitter today, that iconic BG logo is entirely absent. In the hardcore gear and survival community, his name has transformed from a badge of rugged capability into a punchline. To understand how the most famous survivalist on Earth actively destroyed his own multi-million-dollar empire, we have to look at the exact moment he traded authentic bushcraft for Hollywood theatrics. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude of his initial dominance, we must examine the specific military credential that served as the foundational bedrock of his entire brand. Bear Grylls formerly served in the British Territorial Army, specifically assigned to the 21 SAS Regiment, which is the reserve battalion of the legendary Special Air Service. When the Discovery Channel launched the television series Man vs. Wild in 2006, the network executives heavily weaponized this specific credential. The core marketing pitch delivered to the public was incredibly simple and undeniably effective. Drop a highly trained elite special forces soldier directly into the absolute deadliest environments on Earth, armed with nothing but a basic knife and a ferrocerium flint rod, and film him surviving. However, the rapid success of the show relied on a highly specific, highly calibrated shock value formula. The episodes were strictly not focused on slow, methodical, calorie preserving survival techniques. Instead, the production prioritized kinetic, high adrenaline stunts engineered specifically to hold viewer retention. The visual hooks were relentless and deeply visceral. The camera meticulously captured Grill's free climbing sheer rock faces without a safety harness, physically squeezing hydrating fluid directly from fresh elephant dung, and aggressively ripping into raw zebra carcasses. The general public was absolutely mesmerized by the sheer brutality of these actions. The network ratings skyrocketed exponentially, and Bear Grylls rapidly transitioned from a basic television host into a highly lucrative global brand. The adrenaline-fueled format generated unprecedented television ratings and birthed a licensing juggernaut that flooded the retail market. But to capture the wallets of his audience, Grylls had to partner with a legacy American knife manufacturer, resulting in the creation of the most polarizing piece of steel in modern history. In 2010, Grylls executed a massive multi-million-dollar licensing deal with Gerber Legendary Blades, officially launching the highly publicized Bear Grylls Survival Series. The absolute crown jewel of this extensive lineup was the Gerber Bear Grylls Ultimate Survival Knife. A mechanical breakdown of this flagship product reveals a masterclass in highly visible mass-market retail design. The knife featured a high-visibility orange and dark gray rubberized handle, specifically engineered for a secure grip in wet environments. The hard plastic sheath integrated a built-in ferrocerium fire striker and a diamond sharpening block. The handle incorporated a heavy steel pommel designated for hammering tent pegs and an emergency signaling whistle.
I read a whole goddamn playbook and everything.
Take the next step in treating your moderate to severe ulcerative colitis with Entyvio, the only gut.
You're about to see some of the most disturbing photos in National Forest history.
You lying to me, dude.
Alright, y'all. Kodak Black went against them Pete and they ruined his career.
We ain't with none of that Illuminati shit. We ain't on none of that.
Kodak Black.
He got my boy Kodak. My boy the 19th.
So what you're looking at behind me is the house that I just purchased in the Japanese countryside for 3 million yen, which is equivalent to 30,000 Australian dollars. So I'm about 2 hours from Tokyo Drive.
I'm currently up in the mountains, and this property backs onto a nice forest.
When I first came across this house, I was instantly drawn to it. Just the fact that something like this can be $30,000, where, you know, in Australia this would probably cost 700 grand. Now, being 30 grand, it is going to require some work. But when I saw the condition that it was in, I knew I had to go.
Yeah, I'm tired. Man, shit.
Alicia killed himself fully without killing him.
Shit. I tried dating apps for a week. That's it.
Shit, boy, you got this shit, man. You think I'm playing? I ain't playing. You sweet. Come on, man. These niggas be frontin' they shit. Some of them really be dunking they shit. My niggas ain't come for this shit.
That nigga was stupid, man.
This river is a death trap. It's the very river that blocked Christopher McCandless from Into the Wild from returning to civilization, which ultimately led to his slow and painful death. That occurred in 1992, and then just about 18 years later, this very same river struck again. A young European couple, intrigued by Into the Wild, were trekking through the Alaskan wilderness in an effort to reach the famous bus where Christopher McCandless met his ultimate fate. Bus 142, it's called. This couple had almost made it, too. There was only one thing left standing in their way, which was the swollen and raging Teklenika River. A previous hiker had strung a rope across the river, and so Claire Ackerman and her boyfriend tied themselves to this rope and began wading through the chilling waters. They inched their way closer and closer to the other side, but when they found themselves about halfway across the river, something, excuse my language, absolutely up happened. The rope that they were tied to was too loose, and it dipped down just low enough to get caught in the violent current, which pulled the couple underwater. Ackerman's boyfriend quickly grabbed his knife and cut himself loose, desperately swimming towards the shore. He was able to reach the river's banks, but once he realized that Claire was still in the water, he sprang back into action. He swam back out, but tragically, by the time that he reached her, she had already drowned, and it was too late. The death of Claire Ackerman is scary and it's sad, and unfortunately, it's not the only death that has occurred in relation to the story of Christopher McCandless. From the dangerous river current sweeping hikers away to ill-fated copycat attempts modeled after McCandless, or at the very least inspired after him, there's been a wake of tragedy following the popularization of his story. But with that said, is Chris McCandless himself to blame for all this chaos and death? Or is it the fault of each individual seeking to visit Bus 142 or mimic McCandless's lifestyle? Or is it nobody's fault at all, and these deaths are just an unavoidable consequence of an otherwise inspiring and powerful, but very least entertaining story? Those questions for you. Those are going to be up for you to decide for yourself by the end of this video. This is the dark side of Christopher McCandless' story, the side without the romance and without the charm. This is going to definitely be a pretty difficult story for me to tell, and the reason for that is because it's essentially the story of the fallout from another story. It's really going to take the entire video for me to kind of pull everything together, and so please watch until the end, and then I want you to leave a comment and let me know what you think about all this craziness. And so with that said, I invite you on a trip to one of, if not the most beautiful state in all of the United States. That would be Alaska. This trip is free, but if you're a repeat viewer of my channel and you haven't already done so, you gotta hit that subscribe button to cover your admission. Our ultimate goal is to get to 1 million subscribers, and we've got a long ways to go. And so if you appreciate this content, subscribing to the channel is a free way to give back. In the spring of 1992, Chris McCandless set off into the Alaskan wilderness on the Stampede Trail. And once he took a step into the woods and left the trailhead, he would never be seen alive ever again. The 24-year-old McCandless was in the middle of a pilgrimage of sorts, having given up his comfortable and privileged life in order to immerse himself in nature and to live in a simpler way. He found himself taking shelter in an abandoned bus along the Alaskan Trail that he was following, but by July of that same year, he decided that he wanted to return to civilization. And so McCandless tried to make his way back out, but when he reached the banks of the Teklenika River, he found it was far too swollen to cross safely. This left him essentially trapped, and he had no choice but to return back to the bus. And tragically, as I'm sure most of us know, this marked the beginning of the end for McCandless, and by the time August was over, he was dead. McCandless' story would go on to be told in the popular book Into the Wild by John Krakauer, which was later adapted into a movie under the same name, and it was also covered in countless articles, documentaries, and later on, YouTube videos. The story of Chris McCandless has become so popular that I'm not even gonna tell you the rest of his story in this video. Instead, we're gonna start by focusing on why his story has resonated so strongly with people, and then we're gonna get into the deaths that have come in its aftermath. But before we get too far into these more disturbing details, I'd like to keep things light for just a moment and tell you
when it
about
get wet.
Holzkern. That's right, Holzkern is the sponsor of this video. They are an Austrian company that makes watches, jewelry, and other accessories for both men and women. And I mean, just look at this beautiful, beautiful watch. This one is called Space Dust. It's made from walnut and marble. And I mean, look, guys, I've never that they offer free express shipping worldwide, and they'll cover any customs fees.
I had my ass since 2020.
This channel a massive favor, by the way, when you click that link and support our sponsors. It helps so much. So one more time, go click the link or scan the QR code and get yourself 15% off Holzkern's awesome products. With that said, let's now get back to discussing why the hell people were so captivated by Chris McCandless' story in the first place. So it's difficult to sum this up coherently, I'll be honest, but I think we can probably all see the romantic appeal of just dropping everything and heading off into the wild, right? On the surface, this sounds so freeing and so simple. You don't have to worry about bills, deadlines, politics, or even what society thinks of you as a whole. I think that when things get tough and when people feel, I don't know, stuck in their current place in life, it's easy to fantasize about just up and leaving it all behind. And yet 99.999% of people who have this fantasy don't actually act on it, obviously. Chris McCandless, however, was in the tiny minority of people who actually did go out there and start a new life, traveling around and eventually living off the land. Now, I know the full story behind his decision-making and what he ended up doing is obviously a lot more complicated than I've made it sound like here, but I don't know, I think that McCandless found such a solid place in our culture,
like,
you could
after
say,
a while,
because he did what so many
forget
of us
about him, and
only
then they just
dream
start
of doing. And though he ended up dying in the process, I almost feel like that adds to the allure of his story. Like, he died doing what he loved and what we all, or a lot of us anyways, I'll say, fantasize about doing. At least that's how some people view the story. A lot of other people, including many of those who live in Alaska itself, have a very different view on McCandless and his pilgrimage. Many of these people would tell you that he was reckless at best and just plain stupid at worst. They'll point out the fact that he was woefully unprepared when he set out into the Alaskan wilderness. They'll accuse him of breaking into cabins and stealing food and possessions from locals in the area. They'll remind you that before he came to Alaska, he was arrested at the Mexican border for illegally crossing and carrying firearms. Perhaps most importantly, they'll point out that his actions caused him to die
want to get pictures of your starters,
lonely death,
because you want to see the growth.
He certainly wouldn't have known it, but McCandless' death would mark the start of a chain of events that would lead to multiple other deaths over the years that followed, at the very least indirectly. And on that note, I want to be clear, I'm not blaming McCandless for these deaths or anybody else for them for that matter, but it is just a fact that at least 4 deaths have either been loosely associated or directly related to his story. The first of these deaths was that of Claire Ackerman that I told at the beginning of this video, and the next one I want to talk about is that of Dustin Self. In mid-March 2013, 19-year-old Dustin Self up and left his home in Oklahoma and drove to the mountains of southwestern Oregon. He had apparently watched the movie Into the Wild, that very same film adaptation of McCandless' story, and wanted to, quote, see if he could live in the wild. Self was also apparently fascinated by a church in the area that uses hallucinogenic sacrament. Self's parents tried to talk him out of going, but unfortunately, he wouldn't listen. At one point, he had actually called his father and told him that he was lost on a remote road, and he also called his ex-girlfriend, acting extremely paranoid. His ex-girlfriend was quoted saying, he, referring to Self, said, There were devil worshippers at every gas station that he stopped at to get help, and that all the plants and animals were dead everywhere, and he was trying to bring them back to life. He was really, really upset and really scared, and then the line went dead. This would be the last time that anybody heard from Dustin Self. He was reported missing a short time later, but a few weeks went by until any new clues were discovered after that. Eventually, though, a rancher located Self's pickup truck on a remote section of Stonehouse Road on Steens Mountain. The pickup truck had slid on the road, and it contained Self's laptop, some food, and his road GPS. This discovery of the vehicle seemed promising. It was unlikely that Self made it very far beyond the car, but unfortunately, his case then went cold. No additional clues were discovered,
Handsome
and
young man.
his family hoped that he had either made it off the mountain somewhere or had been laying low and living off the land just like Chris McCandless did. And then, over a year later, in October of 2014, a hunter on Steens Mountain was in the process of quietly stalking a deer when he made a horrifying discovery. He was moving through some short aspen trees when all of a sudden he looked down and he saw some discarded clothing and a leg bone. He reported the finding, and by the end of the day, it was clear to investigators these were, unfortunately, the remains.
Nah, you beautiful, man.
They had found the keys to his pickup truck, and they eventually found his driver's license and
You got a
his
nice,
credit card.
calming
There
voice.
was no indication of foul play or self-harm. It appeared
Like, you
as
just
though
so
Dustin
chill.
Self had simply died from exposure. We'll probably never know exactly what his motivations were, but it is clear that Christopher McCandless' story was on Self's mind when he left home and headed for Oregon. When he initially went missing, he was actually framed as a sort of Christopher McCandless copycat, almost an Into the Wild copycat, with many headlines reading like this one from ABC News. Quote, Oklahoma teenager inspired by Into the Wild missing.
What it do, second viewer?
When you list on Apartments.com, renters will start coming out of the woodwork.
I used to have boys think I was a man.
It's like the end of an era. But I've had my girl moment.
I know
listened
they
to Sunny Day
probably.
in like 2 seconds. Got a really good
That's kind of like,
Okay, next.
I don't know, that make you more. I ain't saying cause you like, I don't know. It's kind of attractive.
Kids have a natural way of bringing out your inner child.
Cause a nigga know like,
Oh,
In Oregon wilderness.
oh you
Later
pure,
on,
like ain't too
after
many niggas
Self's
done.
body was discovered, his family started to downplay
One thing
the
about it, you a
connection to
woman in
Christopher
that
McCandless.
bedroom.
His father said that Self's interest in Into the Wild was overblown.
And they
So with that
usually had the
said,
best.
exactly how much of a role McCandless' story played in Self's decision making is unclear, but it is clear that it at least played somewhat of a role, even if it was small. In a disturbing twist to what is already an incredibly disturbing sequence of events, between the time of Dustin Self's disappearance and the discovery of his body, another out-of-state teenager traveled to Oregon and then went missing. And just like Dustin Self, this teenager had also reportedly been inspired by the story of Chris McCandless. In August of 2013, 18-year-old Jonathan Kroom was visiting a friend in Seattle, Washington. On the 16th, he left Seattle and he was presumed to be heading back to his home in Arizona. He was scheduled to begin his college classes only a few days later. But Jonathan Kroom never made it back to Arizona, and it didn't take long before his parents realized that something had gone wrong. And almost immediately, they began wondering if their son had been copying Chris McCandless by leaving
Chris McCandless. What happened? Pistons beating Cavs game 6. Oh shit.
When it comes to playing someone like Wemby. But hell, who's out there that can play Wemby? Especially when as good as he is. As tall as he
Spurs
is. As
beat
efficient
Wolves.
as he is.
Of course.
He's not selfish. Hell, entry-level score. He can do everything. He can shoot from the three. He can shoot, from the midi, and he can take you off the goddamn dribble and drive. So there's really no answer for him in general. So I mean, questioning how Rudy looked against him, hell, anybody that's in the same exact place.
You got to put the able to score with him. You see, the thing is, you expect him to relax. So he uses all of his energy on offense because he already knows Rudy ain't gonna get you nothing.
Right.
So Rudy is the big. As a matter of fact,
Right.
I ain't saying about him. Yeah. In a situation like this, you're supposed to be under the risk because you need to be worried about what the guy's doing against what he can do. Don't nobody worry about that.
Oh yeah, that's what's up.
That Rudy Gobert becomes.
And Chicago got some nice waters out there.
I don't care the position.
Chicago got a nice ass strip.
If I got a point guard though, and I'm paying him $30-40 million, but I can't have him on the court.
What side of Chicago you on?
I can't have.
Cause my city, like, we not big enough to have like different north side, west side, south side, and shit.
Hey, and you got a point. And when you think about it, the job that Rudy done against Jokic was amazing. Yes. But these are two totally different bigs.
Yeah.
You know, Wemby is a finesse big. You know, he go off the bounce, shoot the three. You know, he's very elusive the way he dribbles the ball, gets like, and all he needs is a step on you and he's dumping the ball. You know what I mean? The same for Rudy Ocho. You know, when he's out there on the perimeter doing dribble handoffs and just kind of sitting back, bro, he like, okay, y'all do what y'all gonna do. I know you ain't better out here. You know what I mean? So he just kind of sits back in the paint and it may look like he's far away from you.
Oh, okay, wait.
He gonna go get there. You know what I mean? So you gotta have somebody who's a threat. So that's why Nas Reed plays so much. And you gotta play guys like Nas Reed who can shoot. Because you gotta make Wemby respect the guy who he's guarding. So yeah, you gotta get him out there and paint, bro, so you can get the driving lane. Because when you play Rudy, he gonna go get there. You know what I mean? So you gotta have somebody who's a threat. So that's why Nas Reed plays so much. And you gotta play guys like Nas Reed who can shoot. Because you gotta make Wemby respect the guy who he's guarding. So yeah, you gotta get him out there and paint, bro, so you can get the driving lane. Because when you sit back, it's hard for Ant-Man to get in the piece of the defense. Ayo, any of those guys.
I keep hitting these push-ups, man.
I
For real, I ain't gonna lie, man. I need to stop smoking. I need to get real. I need to lock in. I need to lock the fuck in. For real.
Yes.
Hey, I got a question though. Uncle Joe, think about this, right? What you're saying with Rudy being a liability, obviously when playing the Spurs, but think about the Wolves and all the other. I mean, think about the Wolves and all the other teams that they played. No, he doesn't have this issue all the time.
Well, he had this issue because there's only one Wemby. Let's give him that. So Jokic normally punishes him. Jokic, the three ball wasn't falling. And see, Jokic is not as fleet of foot. Jokic is not as quick off the dribble as Wemby. See, Wemby can get by him. Jokic couldn't get by him. Right. And because Rudy could bother him with his length, he can't bother. First of all, he's guarding the guy that's taller than him. There are not very many guys that Rudy's going to guard that's going to be taller than Rudy. So now I've got a guy that's 4 inches taller.
Nah, I don't smoke cigarettes.
So I can't bother him.
I just smoke papers.
You can't see.
This is what I use to roll my stuff in.
Google. Everyone knows my Eurostep is unstoppable. But today we use Google search to find out exactly.
And I'll put some of this in it when I roll it up.
Let's get covered with his Eurostep. 50 famous drug companies.
Get this. But I do smoke black in my house from time to time. I could never get with cigarettes.
Who you pay a premium salary to become
some people can't fuck with black, so shit.
It's unfathomable to me.
But I want to stop smoking, man. Like, I just want to.
Just like Mariano Rivera, the best closer.
but I can't bring him out tonight.
really eat clean. Like, I love me some baked flounder.
Because I don't trust him. I don't trust him in
And I be feeling like shit. It's people out here
That's what Rudy is. He's
surviving on nothing. I can survive on baked fish, fruits, vegetables. I love me some black beans, cabbage, green peppers.
And you put him on a guy
I like squash, zucchini.
Like, ain't no way. Why would you put Rudy on Castle? I'm thinking at the start of the game, I'm like, yeah, what in the hell would they do that? And he got it going, bro, that first quarter, and then it just unraveled for him. It just seemed like Minnesota, it's so hard for them to come by buckets, okay, Ocho. You know what I mean? And for San Antonio, it's like, yeah, they score at will, bro. Just from ball movement alone, just move that ball hopping, and everybody getting a great shot. You know, yeah, if it's great down, Castle and Fox, who I love, I thought he played a good squad tonight, he's going to get that win. Because both of those guys are great pick and roll, they're great off the dribble, they're great facilitating, and they got an in-between game that a lot of guys don't got. Yeah, they can shoot the three, but once they get inside that three-point line, even if they don't get all the way to the rim, they got the floaters, the little middies, the little touch shots. They just got too much in their game, and Minnesota just couldn't hang with them, bro.
Nah, and the funny thing about it too tonight, of all games, you know, maybe you have Wemby efficient, maybe Castle, maybe Vassell, but Joe and everybody was goddamn efficient tonight. Everybody goddamn Fox had 21 points.
Hey,
He was 8 for 10. He was 3 for 3.
Cut your zoom off and cut back on. You're so lagged, you're like a 4-second delay. Yeah, so cut it off and come back in. All that damn smoky head over there. that's the and look, you can't fault his effort because he be trying. I'll never say Rudy wasn't trying because but he's limited on what he can do, Joe. And like I said, I think everybody, you remember that Joe, you weren't on here with us, but he had that one game where he had 27 points and 20 rebounds against the Lakers, and everybody say, I told you, Rudy. Look, that's enough. He was never gonna happen. Ocho, you back?
Can you hear me? Is timing good?
Hold on. Dun, 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 dun. It's better. They say, man, you was talking, you still doing the intro.
For real?
Yeah. Go ahead and finish the talk. You were talking about how the Spurs were when you look at Champagne and go ahead.
No, I was saying,
that shit is real.
If there was a game where everybody needed to be
26
close out this goddamn series, it was tonight. I was saying Fox had 21 points. I think he was 8 for 10. He was 3 for 3 from 3. And hell, with everyone else playing well, and he didn't have to tonight, Joe.
He didn't have to.
Collectively, everybody plays so goddamn well. The goddamn Wolves need to have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you think about it, he didn't have to be heroic tonight. When you got Champagne with 18, 5 for 10 from the field. Hey, look, I love Harper coming off the bench. He don't play like no rookie to me, fellas. He plays like a guy who's been in this league 3, 4, 5 years. He understands the moment. He's one of those guys who's great and poised and patience in pressure situations. You know, they trust him with the rock as a rookie, bro. You don't really see that, man. You know what I mean? And he's had big moments, not just in this series, but throughout this whole playoff. So I enjoy watching him play as well. I just think collectively San Antonio has the team to compete with OKC. I'm talking about from top to bottom. You name it, from the guard standpoint all the way to the big. Boy, it's going to be some fireworks in this next series. Because both teams have about 4 or 5 guys that can defend at an elite level on the rim. Yeah. That is what separates OKC. That is what separates. Because of Vassell, Champagne, you look at Castle, you look at those guys, they can defend. Now, Keldon Johnson he's not the best defender, but he a try defender. And that's all. Sometimes that's all I need. I just need some other defenders. That's not the playoffs they got swept. I need those guys to be try defenders because they give up to it. Go ahead, Ojo, what you want?
I'm glad you said this right. We talk about how well OKC defends.
Go ahead, Ocho, what you want?
The bench has. We talk about the depth that that the Spurs have. But the one difference maker is they still have Wemby.
Yes.
Now, as well as the goddamn Thunder could defend, who's gonna be the answer to be able to stop Wemby? What's gonna be the difference now?
Well, they're gonna lose Chet, and they're gonna switch it up to Hartenstein because they got 2 7-footers, 6'11", 7 foot. They got guys they can throw at us. That's a lot more athletic. And plus, Chet can shoot the 3. Chet can bring him out of deep waters.
And get him in space.
What you call him? He ain't worried about that. Not the same thing with Hartenstein. He's not worried about Hartenstein. Hartenstein is a lot quicker. And so he was 6 years he can dive to the basket. They do a great job. Put him in the pit. They throw him the ball, and then here comes Chet from the dunker spot, and boom.
Hey, but then the Thunder gonna have the same issue. Shea loving to get to the meat. Shea loving to come off the dribble and drive to the basket. Yeah, Wemby still gonna do what he's done to everybody else and altering goddamn shots.
Well, hey, hold on now. Shea is a mid-range. Shea a mid-range assassin. You know, I agree with you. They both got guys who can defend, but they also both teams got guys who are great going off the dribble, great creating space, great scoring the basketball, great penetrating, getting into the teeth of your defense and making plays. I think it's going to be a pretty even game. And I know the Spurs going to come in with a lot of confidence because they beat them 4 times. They won 4-1 throughout the season. So they're gonna come in with a lot of confidence, and considering the fact that OKC not gonna have the other Jay. No, he said he's healthy. Yeah, he said he's healthy. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting to see what they do. Because you know AJ Mitchell has played so well. Like woo. I bet maybe take a game or two, take another game or two. Maybe we gonna make sure you fully healthy. I think they're gonna continue. I think they're gonna bring AJ Mitchell off the bench. He's still gonna continue to get money. I think that's gonna be the difference maker in this series, meaning OKC and San Antonio. It's gonna be the bench press. It's gonna be the bench press. The question is,
that's what's up, man.
I think they're gonna probably start Luke Dort.
Thank you, man.
On
have a good night's sleep for sure. I'm just chilling.
Yeah. Now you think they're gonna? You think they're gonna start him on? They can put him on cancel. So who? I want to know who. So you gonna put Shea? You gonna put Shea on Fox? Yeah. And he gonna go right around Fox, man. Hey, that joke. You know that joke was so quick, man. I watched that joke in the night. No. He can't quit. Hey, he gonna. I think they gonna give me teleprompter. I think Shea being a little bigger. You know, he made Cancel gonna be on Shea. I think him, Vassell, probably Champagne. I think those guys, that triplet, that trio is gonna rotate and try to show because all of them are different. But Castle is uber physical. He's quick, and you saw tonight.
Planting a tree, installing a fence, whether your project is big or small, Columbia Gas reminds you to know what to mow and contact 811 at least 3 business days before doing any digging so that utility companies can mark the location of their underground lines. Contacting 811 is free and it's the law. Avoid possible penalties, costly repairs, or injuries. DIY or a pro, safety is in your hands. Every dig, every time.
I'm coming. Give me a second.
It's goddamn Wemby.
I know, man. OKC got home court advantage. I want OKC. I picked them to win it. I think San Antonio is there. Obviously, you know they looking to win now. You know, even though they're a young team, they got what it takes. Obviously, they showed me a lot throughout this postseason. But hell, OKC has showed me just as much, man. You know, the fact that they're still hungry coming off a title. They're 8-0 in this postseason. I'm sure they want to continue that. It's going to be hard for San Antonio to go in OKC and get a game.
Look into the air fryer.
Shut the door. I'm coming. What the fuck did I just say?
If you that's the thing I can see is that I still think San Antonio might be a year away. The turnover. You cannot turn the ball over against the Thunder. They punish you. They make you pay a premium. You pay double for turnovers in the postseason. And I just think the thing is that Chet and Hartenstein Chet averaging somewhere between 18 and 22, which they did not get from Rudy. Hartenstein, you know Hartenstein, he gonna give you efficient. He ain't gonna miss more than 2 shots because everything is gonna be a lob or a floater from about 5-6 feet away. His ass gonna have double-figure rebounds. Yes. He's a hustle. He's a hustle guy who gets a lot of his points off of hustling. You know, put back things that sort of give you extra. Let's be going to challenge it. So guess what? So when we go to challenge something, okay, when we start, he's over the challenge. Take your ass to the ring. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, you make me think if I had to take some money, if I had to put some money down, that meant something to it. Hell, if I put money down, it's my money, so it means a lot to me. I would take the Thunder. I can see the Thunder in 7. I can see it be a home and home series, Joe. I really could. I know Ocho a rebel. He gonna go San Antonio. I already know.
For me, I mean, listen. I like the Thunder. Obviously, what they've been able to do, even when Shea was injured. I mean, them young boys kept the ship afloat. But that goddamn Wemby's so special. He's so special. I think he's gonna be the common denominator. Being that I don't think Shed will be able to do anything with him, even though Shed is 7 feet tall. Wemby's so dominant, regardless of who you put out there on him. I'm just giving the edge to the Spurs slightly.
Okay. All right. Joe, I'm just looking at these numbers. My starting 4 and 5 gave me 3 points and 10 effort rebounds. At home. That's in the closeout game. A closer. Everything. I done battened down the hatches. I done boarded up the house. I'm hunkering down. I ain't leaving. Yeah. If you out here when a storm is coming and say you need to leave, I'm batting the hatches. I ain't going no damn way. Yeah. Hey, you know what I think? I think Minnesota, coming into next year, they probably going to find a way to kind of give Nas Reed a starting job, Uncle Ocho. I just think he plays well, you know, and I think he played well against Wemby, obviously being able to stretch the floor. And he ain't really look like he was nervous or scared of the moment tonight. You know what I mean? He just came out and cool. You're gonna have to change your roster up a little bit. Or you might have to make a couple trades. You know, I'm saying. But what? If you know we still got to give him the picks that we gave for Wemby. I mean for Rudy. We gave up 5 first round to show. You don't think nobody wants to? Look at Fat Albert games, don't even want Rudy back. You remember Rudy was in Fat Albert? Rudy kept the bull down going. Fat Albert games don't even want Rudy back. That's a bad matchup for Rudy, bro. It is. It's that's the problem that he has. Any matchup that has a big that's athletic is gonna be a problem for him. Yeah. They can space the floor. Yeah, that's he would have a problem with Embiid because Embiid is so physical. Embiid gonna put that big body on it. That's not what Jokic is. Jokic is a finesse player. Rudy is long enough to bother him, especially if you can't get him in foul trouble early and he can't knock down threes to pull him away from the basket. Because you see, even when Rudy wasn't blocking his shot, he was making it shoot it short. Because he was working, he put so much arc on it that the ball was coming up short. But at some point in time, Joe, you got to make a look. I'm looking, I'm like, hold on. Randall gave me 3. Randall been coming up real small in big moments, Joe. He's been coming up real small. I know, and they need and the problem that you got, Minnesota, y'all thought this was gonna be a better answer than Cat. That's the problem that you're running into, and they see what Cat doing over there. Cat done had 2 postseason triple doubles. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. That ain't got none of my business. All he knows I'm Hey, but Minnesota was happy with injuries, so I'm gonna give him a little pass in this series. I thought Ant-Man kind of got a little better. You know, the series went along. He didn't play great tonight,
But hell, I thought at least his intensity was there, understanding the moment. You know, he was aggressive. He was trying to get to the cup. But San Antonio too much, bro. They coming at you with too many waves, too many guys who can really shoot the basketball, defend at a high level. And once they bust that thing open, it's hard. It was hard for Minnesota to keep coming back
I
and
know,
being
right?
at home.
Should be crazy.
I think that's the most impressive thing about San Antonio, bro. The way they played on the road, the way they came in there and closed that thing out.
You know, and one of the most important things too is having that advantage, being able to play at home, allowing your crowd to get into it, to make things easy for you, offensively and defensively. The Spurs didn't allow the crowd to get into it at all.
They did, bro.
At no damn point. They really made it a home game, even though they were playing away.
Yeah. You think about this trade, Joe. Let me tell you why this trade doesn't make sense to me. Because you got a guy in Ant-Man that wants to attack. He can shoot. He can get to the mid. He got to be a 3-level scorer. But Julius Randle's not a better three-point shot, a three-point guy. Cat can pull you, Big Cool pull. Now see, Cat can pull Wemby away from the basket.
Yeah.
Now, if you take Rudy out, you bring Cat in, and Cat's in. Now Rudy's got to go out there because Cat can knock the three down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll turn it back on Rudy. Go ahead, shoot out there.
I think
free throw line, Rudy at the 3-point line. He ain't worried about Rudy that damn shot. And he knows. Rudy, how many times you see Rudy dive to the basket and dunk? Rudy gonna get put back dunk. He'll get a lob dunk. But I'm not throwing.
I know, right? You see that?
Yeah. Tall, we awkward. So I ain't worried about him being
Like the video.
Right.
I ain't worried about none of that.
Right.
He gonna kick it with him 520, keep that thing dead in the front row, pop.
Like the video,
I'm not worried
man.
about that.
You sitting here watching.
Because Ocho, you said all he has to deal with is Wemby. The problem is that OKC and the Spurs, for the next 3 to 5 years, they're gonna run the West unless something unforeseen happens. So he's having his way with Jokic and some of these other bigs. He still got to go through them.
Somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you're going through purgatory, in order to get to the championship, you got to go through hell, which is San Antonio and OKC.
Mm-hmm. And this is the bad thing,
It's
though.
all good.
Because if you get rid of Rudy, who's the answer? There's still no answer that you can go and get that can make a difference against Wemby or the goddamn Thunder.
Well,
When I catch somebody, bro,
I got to get points from somewhere. I got nothing from
everybody run up their ass and knock the fuck out.
So that was so much pressure on Ant that he could. Ant had 24 points, but it took him 26 shots. I'll give him that all day long.
And think about this. What if you do get a big, right, Uncle Joe?
Yeah.
What if you get a big that's our offensive big that can get you points? Hell, that can shoot the three.
Trade for your other.
Hey, but then you know what the problem is gonna be? He's gonna be a liability on defense. Because you're not gonna get him. Okay.
What a thing that I'm thinking is if I can keep Wemby honest, you know, versus him not even paying attention to Rudy.
Right.
Damn, I mean, I think that's a pretty good job. Meaning, if I can have a threat out there that he has to guard Ocho,
yes,
instead of just sitting close to the paint, not guarding this man who I at the three. Man, you have a better chance versus going in there challenging him every time, bro. Like he's just too much. It's too much, man. So I'm sure Minnesota will get to the drawing board this summer. They're gonna have to come up with something. I know they got some mean contracts over there, but what they got to figure it out.
Yeah. The Wolves, the last 5 postseasons, lost in the first round, lost in the first round, lost in the conference finals, lost in the conference finals, lost in the second round. And I think the thing is that with Wemby, you can't outskill it. You got to get somebody that's physical, that's willing to bang with him. Because his skill level is, I mean, first of all, there ain't a whole lot of fives. I mean, you look at Jokic, if you look at Hartenstein, you look at, you want to say Cats are 5, there are not a whole lot of them that has a skill like Wemby that could be able to score. The only 5 that really can score is Embiid and Jokic.
Yeah.
Those are the really only ones. Those are really the only ones.
That's why I said there is no answer. So in the West, Wemby's gonna continue to dominate because there's really no get that can match him offensively at the five.
We know that, but we got to get some scores. That's the thing. That's the thing. Ocho, he only gave us 19, but his counterpart gave us nothing. So he beat us 19-0. What if he gave us 9? Get off to a great start. Drew didn't do any better. He gave us 3. Remember the last game? How many points did Drew have the last game? He didn't have that many last game. Hey, and when you think about it, Wemby just got too many pretty good damn players next to him. Meaning guys who really know and understand, okay, boom, we going to feed big fella, we going to play through big fella, but boy, when they come out of it, I'm getting to it. Yeah. You know, they got guys who really understand their role in Fox, Castle, Vassell, Harper, they championing. Like, I'm talking about guys who play key. Like, look, they'll have games to where some of these guys won't be as productive offensively, but then they'll have games like tonight to where collectively as a team, everybody will beat you. You know what I mean? It ain't really, Castle was, you know, he was terrific tonight, but everybody was super solid around the board. And I just think it's hard to beat a team, bro, who has guys like this. And the only team I can think who is like this is OKC. But Joe, think about this. You know the last game 5? Guess how many points Rudy had? 4. Yeah. So it's 2 points a game. Game 5, Drew Randall had 17. So in 2 games, he's averaging 10 points a game. How many points did he take? Because he took like 14 shots to get those 17 points out, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was 5 or 14 from the floor. 6 or 17, my bad. I was off. Come on. 0 4 from 3. What was his night from 3? 0 2. 1 of 8 from the floor. 0 2 from 3. And see, and A-Man's like, hell, I can get funky like that. If I know my guys, I can count on. If Rudy can give me a consistent, if he can give me a consistent 10 to 12, he ain't gonna be able to do that. That's asking a lot. That's not
what he is, Joe. That's what y'all told me when I said maybe he can have one of those games.
Nah, well, Rudy, you love it when Rudy was giving it to the Lakers. Man, Rudy had a 20-20 game. I said, you'll never have another one of those in his life.
Hey, you was right. He's a defensive player. How many times did he win that defensive award on? 4 times.
Well, look, the Lakers couldn't catch up with him. He was right with him big. The Lakers ain't had no answer for him. You got LeBron and Rudy trying to guard the man. Yeah. This here is different, bro. This one, the Spurs are a little different. Well, look, y'all better get your popcorn ready. This is gonna be a great series. Man, have they decided when it starts? Monday or Tuesday? Trying to see the Western Conference Finals start. Starts Monday. What is it on? Well, it ain't. On Friday. NBC, okay. NBC. All right. Okay, we got a game 7. Cade Cunningham. I told you.
Hey, they were supposed to close that thing out.
Pistons won 115 to 94. Jalen Duren had his game. 7 of 10 from the floor. 18 points, 11 rebounds. Cade had 21 points.
What's up?
Stuart Thompson. Bro, just get in the gym and just try to make shots. That's all you got to do. Dennis Jenkins played his best game. 15 points, big threes. Duncan Robinson came
What's up, second viewer? How you doing?
Again, I think Paul Reed and Karis LeVert played well too in the minute that he played. He did. Impressive.
I can see you as soon as you come in.
Yes, sir. I'm getting at it.
You can't watch me from the
Hey,
outside.
give me the ball. I ain't need nothing. Hey, he tough though. He tough. He one of them Houston projects, bro. He could play. Like you could tell. You know, he wasn't afraid of the moment. He was going at his man. He scored it was 9 crucial points. Okay, Ocho, that he scored. Hey, I'm like you. Paul Reed got to play a lot more here. He had more points than he did minutes. was like, damn. The ball was just sitting up on the back of the eye. And I was like, that thing just dropped in there. And the ref like, hey, ain't one. The 21-point victory tied a 66-year-old NBA playoff record for the largest Game 6 road win by a team trailing 3-2 in a series. St. Louis Hawks, later became the Atlanta Hawks, beat the Minneapolis Lakers, later became the Los Angeles Lakers, by the score of 117-96 in the 1960 West Division Finals. This was Joe. And I don't look. Congratulations, Detroit. But Joe, Cade has got to cut down on these turnovers, Joe. They killing them.
They do, bro. They do.
They gotta cut that. They turned the ball over in time. This game should have been over. They should have never been able to get back in this game. Yeah, they pulled away in the second half, but this game could have been over in the first. I mean, Joe, they turned the ball over like 4 consecutive possessions. And I told Thompson, don't throw no more lobs. Bounce pass.
Man.
Don't you throw another lob.
Hey,
Uncle Joe.
What's up?
Thompson, he fouled out, but I'm glad they were already in control of the game. He has to pick and choose when to be aggressive.
Yeah.
You got to pick and choose when to be aggressive because some of those fouls, it was unnecessary. You didn't have to do it.
First foul. Joe,
yeah,
he got the ball and throw back.
You just be vibing, man. People be evil.
Yeah, I would say you gotta make better decisions, Joe. If anything, keep your feet moving. Just put your body in position. You ain't got to reach. You ain't got to put your hand in there.
But
stuff you just don't have to do. You're giving away ticky-tack fouls for no reason. Then you're gonna hurt your team. You're gonna hurt your team, especially in an important game, especially in Game 7. You can't foul out.
I agree, Ocho. I think Thompson was great outside of just the little small, minute things, bro. Some things he got to learn and understand, and obviously this experience that he's going through is going to help teach him. You know what I mean? Hopefully he'll be better in Game 7. But, man, I don't know what Cleveland had going on, bro. That's why I told y'all, after Cleveland won that game in Detroit the other night, I said, man, I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit win the
Detroit weirdo.
They've been tried. Look, they got tried and tested in the last series. You know what I mean? It's like they don't play. It's like they don't panic. I think Cade is always under control. Like I'm saying, you got to cut down on the turnovers here. 42 minutes. I think he'd be dog dead tired. Trying to do everything. They stealing them some minutes because they had the lead and they came with faster. They came early with some guys, and I was like, you know what? Good job, Vic. Good job. Give him some buy some time because you know there's a great chance you're probably going to have to run it the entire second half. So just in case, let him stop some of these, let him build that battery up. So you go, so you don't want to run on fuel. I'm like, come on, Hey. But James Harden not doing them in the damn turnovers. James had 8 tonight.
Yeah. Well, Cade had 7.
Yeah.
I was hoping Donovan Mitchell had a game like he had last game. I was hoping his double game.
Where he had that 39 he had to have.
39.
Yeah. The problem is, if James Harden is getting on up there 5, 6, they not win. Because they create empty possession. Yeah. Because a lot of times his turnovers lead to run out. Yeah. If you throw the ball, if you just turn the ball over, Joe, and they got to take it out of bounds, you get an opportunity to stand. But if you turn it over and run out, I can't set my defense. Absolutely. And that's what we say in football. Let's not turn it over.
Hey man, Devon funny too.
Don't have an offensive lineman and wide
Devon be trolling.
That is what they do. Right.
Told me he got a 14-year-old.
And look at it. Detroit was looking at the film like, listen, that damn Struz.
Damn well he got him damn key.
He can't get
14 himself.
We cut his water off. We got a great chance of winning this game.
That's my dog.
And you got to cut them other guys off, man. You gonna make it hell on Donovan and James Harden, Jared Allen and Mobley. Yeah, they gonna be so. But outside of them 4 guys, you can't have nobody go off for 17, 25 points. If you Detroit. And look at the score, man. Cleveland had 94 points, fellas. This is how Detroit has won all these games. This is why Detroit was number 1 in the Eastern Conference. It's because of their defense. It wasn't because, okay, boom. Yeah, I know Durant averaged 20 and 10 during the regular season, but for the most part, bro, we locked down. We played great team defense. We played great individual defense. And we stingy. You got to be stingy, bro. I thought they were very stingy tonight defensively, which obviously helped them win this game.
We get some air.
Yeah, Durant hurt. Hey, Joe, Durant hurt now.
He looked better winning the season. He put the ball.
Yeah.
Man, Joe, we talked about that. That when the ball you win, you up by 15, 20 points. Some jokers that don't even know the game got no finish no three. Man, that joker shot a three. Reed shot that three. What? But I thought Irving put the ball on the floor and finished with his left a couple of times.
He did.
With his right a couple of times. I thought he was aggressive tonight. I didn't think he second guessed himself, and he did an unbelievable job. I thought the guys that came in off the bench, you look at their bench players, Duncan Robinson, 20 minutes, 14 points on 4-7 shooting. Paul Reed, 17 points and 7 of 9 shooting. You got LeVert had 8. You got Sasser had 9. Well, when you get 31, 40, 48 points from your bench, and they got 16, they got 17, they got 17, 19. I scored you 47, 17.
Yeah, and you look at Durant. Taylor Durant, we always talk about his energy and effort, bro. That's got to always be constant.
Yeah, right.
You can bring that every game. Look, he had 4 offensive rebounds. You know what I mean? That's all we ask, bro. Listen, even if you have single-digit points, you should always have double-digit rebounds.
Yes.
Yeah. I think all the time. But I think the Pistons really found something in this series. Okay, Ocho with Paul Reed. That man coming in, he playing with high energy, effort, blocking shots, rebound, making threes. I'm like, all right, now. You know, I don't know if he continued it throughout the rest of the postseason, but then
I ain't got no storage on my phone.
We're worried about the finals. We're worried about the Eastern Conference Finals, Joe.
No.
We're worried about that on Tuesday or Wednesday. But right now, can you give me
I haven't really locked in. I can't be staying up late no more for real.
Don't change the thing, Harvey. Give us that.
That's
pretty good enough. But I love the fact, that JP is going to Caris LeVert. Because there were times Caris LeVert was kind of just getting mop-up duty. He's going to him a lot earlier now. Now that has something to do with Thompson getting in foul trouble also.
Yeah.
So
Jenkins
looked really good. Because, Joe, we talked about him when Kane was out, how aggressive he was. And how he dropped 30 on the Lakers and ended up and got him a victory. I was like, okay, this kid can play.
Yeah.
He's getting back in the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like how they respond when their backs are against the wall, fellas. That shows you a lot about a team have done that this whole postseason.
Yeah.
You know, they've had different guys step up, be consistent. I mean, man, this is how they win, bro. Defensively, locking down, getting stops, getting turnovers, creating points off those turnovers. I mean, they were great tonight, bro. Look, you go into a hostile environment like this.
Yeah, I gotta get another
phone.
I don't even have an old phone laying around.
Decent, and man, you just kind of cut their water off if you just want to keep 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it was for Cleveland to win, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. One of these guys got to go on. Now, I'm not saying you got to have 40 or 50, but like James Harden had that 30, and he was sensational down the stretch. Big three, flow, free throws. Donovan gets 39 in the second half after only having 4. Then
I'll be right back, Meg. The second viewer.
You get Burrow. Remember, Burrow had 10 points. He had like 3 threes.
Yeah.
And then Wade. Boy. Wade, you tell you, hey, bro, you got to remember that name.
See, at first,
You could have people thinking,
I used to think it was just a random second viewer. Now I know who you are, motherfucker.
Hey, Uncle Joe, as great as the goddamn Pistons are defensively, the pressure is on James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. You know, the issues and the problems that they've always had in the playoffs is one of the conversations that I always had when it comes to them. I think they have to do something they've never done before. They got to dig down, they got to do do whatever they need to do. And you said just one of the two have to have a big game. I think both of them. Both of them got to be aggressive.
Need to just start showing people names when they pop.
You don't know what you're gonna get from Wade. You know, Allen is up and down. Goddamn James Harden and goddamn Donovan Mitchell got to come out there and they got to give 30 apiece. It's game 7. It's do or die. You're going home.
I don't see that happening, bro.
Hey, Joe, they got to be aggressive. They got to be aggressive. If you got to make it 2-on-5, goddamn it.
Put these clothes in the dryer.
I'm looking at the turnovers.
Hey, man, James just had a good game. We only had 3 turnovers tonight. He had goddamn 8.
What is his MO? Is his MO 3 turnovers or is MO 5 or more?
5 or more.
And as long as Thompson can stay on the court, because you got to realize one of those guys having to deal with Thompson, the other guys having to deal with Cade Cunningham, and neither one of those guys are slouches on the defensive end. No sir. So now, that's why you see James Harden. James didn't take that many shots. He got to the free throw line 10 times. But look at Donovan, 6 of 20. He did it with Cade. Yeah. He did it with Cade.
It was hell to get.
Big body. Think about it. What's Cade? 6'7", Joe? 6'7"? Yeah. Donovan's 6'2". He's physical. He's more physical than Donovan. He can slide and he can beat Donovan to. Oh no! Don't go to. Hey, you thought you was going there? I'm right here. Oh no! I'm right there too. Yeah. Hey, and LeVert come in and he defends too. Yes. When I say defend, sometimes it may not be the greatest on-ball defense, but it's just a consistent pursuit of the basketball, just trying to wear you down, Ocho. You know what I mean? Like, boom, just trying to stay in front of you, fighting over them picks, making it hard for you, making it tough every time. We ain't giving you no dead shots. We ain't giving you no easy buckets. Everything you gonna get, bro, you gonna earn these tonight. Yeah. And that's what Detroit doing, bro. They making Donovan and James earn every bucket that they get, man. And if they don't have a guy off this bench or Mobley or Allen who can go off and get you 20 and 15, 25 and 17, they're not gonna win this game, bro. Them two dudes gonna need help. They need somebody to come along and help them win a game. Those two alone ain't gonna beat Detroit. Look at Cleveland, 15 assists. So you know what I mean? I got the 2 guys that you count on playing hero ball. I'm good with that. Yep. I keep you under 25 assists. I'll keep you. Oh, I'm good. Gucci. Go ahead, Shorty. Absolutely. No, the one thing I can't have you is for you to get those numbers. And then what did James Harden have to? Ocho, 30 points, 11 assists. Yeah. No, I can't have that. So you got 30 and 11. So I know at least 3 or 4 of those gonna come on. Those assists gonna come on 3-point shots. Now I gave you 9 and 12. Nah, hell no. Keep on playing. Y'all think, as long as they play 1-on-1, if we don't let them get other guys involved. And see, the thing is about Detroit, they got guys that can defend without you having to compromise the defense. Ain't nobody coming. Yeah.
Just me and
Cade, absolutely. Cade, get it done. I'm about to get this Cade Cunningham jersey. Man, he be doing it. Detroit don't have to put 2 on the ball. They don't really have to trap and pick and roll because they got bigs who kind of move their feet, and Paul Reed and Durant and Tobias Harris. So listen, with that being said, it takes away all your options if you James and Donovan running pick and roll because now you really can't pass to the big. You really kind of got to go into your bag. You know? And I know both of their bags are pretty deep. But if I wear you down, Uncle Ocho, and then we get in the second half of the game and you ain't really got the juice like you had maybe in the first quarter, we gonna win that. We gonna win that battle, bro. We gonna win that battle every time. Detroit has shown improvement. I'm telling y'all, man. Even before the game started, I wasn't nervous for Detroit. I just felt like they have what it takes. They have what it takes to win the next 2 games. Obviously, winning in Cleveland was great. Went on the road shows a lot, but going home, I don't see them squandering away. I know they've had some mishaps, especially in Game 5, but I think understanding what they've been through in the last series and now having another Game 7 on their home court, this is why you get home court advantage, bro. Yeah, I think the big thing for Detroit also, they had to have bench points because the last couple of games, the survive that bit. Because you got to realize, Joe, the previous like 7 or 8 games, I think it showed this down on the screen, he was averaging 22 and a half points a game. He gave us 6 tonight. Now, he was in foul trouble dealing with, because I felt that Evan Mobley had a decided advantage. He just wasn't using it. Yeah. If you see tonight, Joe, he used it. He posted him up, tried to get, he got him in foul trouble. He had to come out of the ball game. And guys, Paul Reed came in, played well. But I think to be able to space the floor with Duncan Robinson. Yeah. Because Cade gonna break whoever got it, gonna break him down. You got to come and he kick. And Duncan Robinson gonna get the game. You don't need much. He don't need. He a super threat. He a threat out there, man. You gotta respect him, bro. And I think if you Cade and you got guys out there on the floor with you that gotta be respected, it keeps the floor so open so where you can operate, get to your midi, get to the basket, shoot your floater, and hell, he shoot the three just as well as he do any of that. Yes. I think this is definitely, obviously it's one game now, but I'm in favor of Detroit. I had picked them to win this series, so the fact that they did the unthinkable and that was going into Cleveland, because we all pretty much thought, damn, Cleveland, this is your game. You don't want to have to go game 7. Oh man, hey look, I know they didn't want to have to go back to Detroit and try to end this thing. Hey, the old coach said, look here, go ahead back, because we going straight from there. We going straight to New York. We ain't coming back. Oh, yeah. I want to put that thought. Look here, go ahead back here. We ain't coming back. We ain't going to Detroit. We ain't going nowhere. We going straight to New York. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna let y'all sleep in tomorrow. Guess what? Because we ain't go ahead and sleep in for a couple of days. Hold on. You know if Detroit win, that New York gotta come to Detroit. There you go. Bro, y'all sleep in. Yeah, but if Cleveland win, Cleveland gotta go to Detroit. Cleveland ain't going nowhere. Cleveland going home. All that. Hey, all you got to do is give me anything. Hey, y'all win this game going away. If I'm the Knicks, I'm at home like, hell yeah. Game 7, wear y'all ass out. Yeah, because I was in here like, yes, game 7. Woo. I was hoping Minnesota would give us game 7. But I saw early on. Man, come on, man. This game might not even go to the second half.
Right.
the way they were playing.
Right. So both of y'all got the Pistons winning the game.
No.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
You got the Cavs.
All right.
My second job been giving me 1 day a week, which has been perfect.
Yeah, man. Listen, they tied that. They don't want to hear that no more. They gonna change.
I've been doing what I can, you know.
I don't see realize how people get names like man, old feet, yeah, man, old lying ass sleep. How you think he got the name? Cause he lied.
I needed that break. That's why I'm up right now.
Old thieving ass Rob. Yeah, how you think he got the name? How you think James Harden get the name of not coming up big in the postseason when it matters the most?
Right.
He hasn't really been. God, you talking about a guy that's won 3-4 scoring titles. One of the highest scoring ever. A guy averaged 36 and a half for a season. Had like 30 plus games straight where he got 30. And then come in the postseason, man, and we.
Yeah.
But everybody, and people are like, oh, no, here it is. You understand what it is. Yes, you understand these moments. And everybody, and you have to be able to rise to the occasion in these moments. And more
James Harden, trash.
Greater player, and James Harden is great. But in these moments, more times than not, he hasn't been great. See, it doesn't do you any good when greatness is required and you can't achieve it. There you go. In moments like this in Game 7, greatness is normally required. And that's how the Jordans and the Kobe's and all these great players, that's made their name Game 7 because of where they take off. See, in the NFL, guys,
Following the release of my psychological analysis on David, there's been a certain opinion I made that's had some pushback from viewers. I stated, I don't believe David sought out Celeste in a predatory form, looking for a minor because that's what attracted him. The fact he was only 16 at the time and was being homeschooled makes it completely plausible that the relationship began as some kind of intense online companionship where he was just happy to talk to someone who of his concerns. I believe they started off as friends who confided in each other, made jokes, and wasn't started off in any inappropriate nature. Now, looking back on it, I did all the research and analysis to come to this conclusion, but I didn't really go into enough depth to explain why. I kind of just made it seem like a casual observation and opinion, and rightly so, people contested it.
This is where I'm gonna have to agree with this dude, man. When I was 16, I am not gonna wanna hang around no one. No.
So what I want to do in this,
but you gotta think, he was a different 15-year-old.
Because I really
he was a shelter.
This segment. Because if David
that shit made him like do that,
saw her as a friend in his lonely world,
as far as like talking to
a relationship, then that makes him seem more complex and someone who went down a downward spiral into a predator. And if David sought out Celeste with the purpose of finding a minor specifically because that's what attracted him, then that makes him even darker than I first portrayed. Because if Celeste's age was the reason he killed her, and Celeste's age was also the reason he was attracted to her, then technically, this was a murder he'd set up for himself years in advance, which would then make the connection to his lyrics even more daunting. I wish I didn't have to say this, but I might have been wrong about David. So before I cover both sides, let's quickly go over the alleged timeline again for clarity. In January 2022, a 16-year-old David makes first contact with 11-year-old Celeste, most likely from Fortnite. Throughout 2022 and most of 2023, the relationship remains online and there's no evidence of physical contact during this period. David blew up with music around this time, so he was getting a little fame and a good amount of money at this point. Now, something I didn't include in the main video were the reported other victims, mainly because I was focusing more on confirmed and reliable evidence. But during this timeline, there are messages that appear to be from June 2023, where David would have been 18, and he seems to be sending a breakup message to a girl who's 16 at the time. I'll get into this in more detail after, but if this is true, then David did seem to have another relationship prior to meeting Celeste in person. 5 months after this, in November 2023, is when the prosecution alleges a sexual relationship between David and Celeste started. February 2024 is when Celeste was reported missing and law enforcement actually contacted David to inform him she's a 13-year-old runaway, to which he denied knowledge of her age and her whereabouts. He would then drive to her hometown, Lake Elsinore, and pay a classmate $1,000 to provide Celeste with a new phone. Another thing I didn't include because he's not always reliable is private investigator Steve Fisher's claims that he'd been in contact with another minor who he alleges had an illegal relationship with David at some point whilst David was still with Celeste. He claims he has photo evidence, but this has not yet been published, the age is unknown, and the victim hasn't come forward, so I just treated it as unverified context. And then on April 23rd, 2025, is when the prosecution alleges David murdered Celeste. First, I'm going to go over position A, which is my original position, that in January 2022, David wasn't hunting for a minor, but their online companionship escalated into sexual grooming as his psychology got darker and the power dynamic developed. David's social development was severely disrupted by 5 years of isolated homeschooling, beginning at approximately age 13. During this period, his primary peer interaction occurred through Fortnite squad fields, an anonymous age-mixing gaming environment where age is not socially visible in the way it would be in a classroom or community setting. He's described absorbing other people's problems through these platforms as the primary way he came to understand human psychology.
Like with Fortnite, I remember I found so many cool people just from that game I would have never met like in real life. So the ability to meet new people and see like how other people think. But it's like I'm taking this information and all these different people talking to me about different like problems and situations. I'm like, wow, this is really what humans are like. Like these are humans.
If an adolescent is developed this way, where they're isolated from age-appropriate peer contact and using anonymous online platforms as a social substitute, research shows that they form connections that don't follow their age logic or the typical black person who's able to socialize properly, or at least be in social environments. A 16-year-old who had no meaningful peer relationships for 3 years would be operating with a fundamentally different social framework than a normally developed 16-year-old. In anonymous online gaming environments, there's no way to actually know someone's age. Assuming they met on Fortnite, all he'd been able to judge her off was by hearing her voice. It's always going to be easy to make an age judgment that way. I do obviously agree that upon finding out her real age, there's no excuse to be made for staying in contact with her. But from David's own claims, he was talking to many people through Fortnite and the contact just seemed to be formed around emotional openness. So, if true, then it doesn't seem he was seeking out a minor specifically, but was looking for any social interaction he could get. And by the sounds of it, Celeste was happy to continue talking. Clinical literature on grooming doesn't require the initial contact to be one of predatory intent. Research by Craven, Brown, and Gilchrist identifies grooming as a process that frequently begins with genuine connection, particularly when the perpetrator has genuine emotional needs that the relationship initially meets, and escalates over time as opportunity and power dynamics develop. Under this framework, David and Celeste's initial friendship may have been authentic, even whilst the later exploitation was clearly harmful. These are not mutually exclusive states.
Look like a fucking little girl.
But now I'm going to move on to position B. The counter-argument that David's attraction and pursuit of minors reflects a deliberate sexual order. Following the release of my psychological whilst the later
this right here. Look at this shit. There's no way you can try to hide that. That's a little girl. What's it? Like, look at that shit. That's a little fucking girl. There's no way you can hide that. There's no hoodie you can put on her. That look like a fucking little girl. This nigga crazy.
exploitation was clearly harmful. These are not mutually exclusive states. But now I'm going to move on to position B. The counter-argument that David's attraction and pursuit of minors reflects a deliberate sexual orientation rather than incidental opportunity, that he was socially aware enough to understand the significance of age as a category, and that the pattern of behavior across multiple alleged minors is more consistent with a targeted selection than a developmental confusion. The text messages I mentioned earlier, shared by an apparent 16-year-old girl, is the most significant evidence that changes my opinion. But now you see my issue with the original video. I can only make an analysis using credible evidence that I deem worthy of including in the video. I can't say I have this opinion based on other evidence, but I'm not including that evidence. Because if I had used these messages in the original video, the easiest defense people would use is messages can be faked. If the prosecution were the ones to present those messages, then they're able to connect them to David's phone specifically and have it 100% proven. These screenshots, however, come from a guy on Twitter saying the victim sent them to him and wishes to remain anonymous. As someone who prides himself in being clinically accurate and sticking with provable evidence, you can see why this didn't make it. However, for this video's sake, I think it changes the verdict and provides a lot more context, so it's at least worth considering. In these messages, dated June 14, 2023, David explicitly references the girl as still in school, with 2 years of high school left. He identifies the age gap as a stated reason why the relationship can't be publicly acknowledged, saying, "I'm barely in Texas. I believe long-distance relationships work under the right conditions, like you being able to travel with me, etc. But you're still in school." With that also being said, I don't like hiding anything from anyone. I would love to have a public relationship with someone, but the way this is going, it's like we have to be a secret or something. He frames her youth as an obstacle to a legitimate relationship, rather than something he was unaware of. It demonstrates that David was socially conscious enough to register age as a legally and socially relevant category. If he could identify and articulate the age-related problem of a 16-year-old girl, the argument that he was oblivious to do it for an 11 or 13-year-old girl becomes very difficult to sustain. Another point that is also strong was actually made by YouTuber Gideon, who reacted to my video. Regression.
There is a strong pipeline from people that watch gore videos to people that start consuming CSAM material. It is an uncanny pipeline like none other. If you are a person who is just absorbing and watching gore content, there is a strong likelihood that you will end up into CSAM material.
This argument that gore addiction can be a pipeline to consumption of prohibited sexual content is indeed supported by research. The escalation model, in which individuals who seek increasingly extreme content to maintain the same stimulation threshold progressively migrate towards more prohibited categories, is documented in the clinical literature on compulsive pornography consumption, and has been applied to extreme content consumption more broadly. David's own Discord statements describe exactly this escalation dynamic in relation to gore: the initial shock response, then habituation, then laughter, and then the deliberate use of extreme content to sustain the desensitizing effect. Whether this pattern extended to sexual content involving minors can't be confirmed by the public record alone. However, the prosecution references CSAM as evidence to be presented at the preliminary hearing. described as photos depicting Celeste engaging in sexual activity from as young as 13. This confirms CSAM exists in the case, but whether it's purely in relation to Celeste, or whether he sought out other videos of other minors online, is something we do not yet know. But even then, this escalation pathway argument still doesn't prove a predatory intent at the point of initial contact in January 2022. Although he watched gore at 14, we need evidence that he consumed CSAM between then and first contact with Celeste to make a suggestion that minors became his choice of sexual orientation. It's entirely possible that he got with Celeste in a friendly nature, and at some point after initial contact, he started consuming that material and then turning those twisted fantasies onto Celeste, which would explain why he then pursued a sexual relationship. However, a single relationship with an age gap, despite it still being problematic, is categorically different from a pattern. If we are to believe those text messages, and even to believe Steve Fisher's claim that there was another minor involved in a relationship with David, then it surely had a pattern of pursuing girls who were underage. The thing is, the relationship with the 16-year-old when David was 18 is actually legally covered by the Romeo and Juliet law. The messages show David saying, "I'm barely in Texas, I believe long-distance relationships work under the right conditions, like you being able to travel with me, etc." So this suggests that the girl was from his hometown in Texas, whilst at the time he was travelling around the country for performances and meetings or whatever. Texas does indeed enact the Romeo and Juliet laws, which allow sexual relationships between teenagers to continue without it being illegal. The criteria include they are no more than 3 years older than their sexual partner. Their sexual partner was at least 14 years old. The sexual relationship was consensual between both persons, and they were not already a registered sex offender at the time of the relationship. So, first of all, we don't even have proof from these messages of any physical intimacy anyway, like we do with Celeste. That would just be an educated assumption. But then, even if true, these laws would have protected him. But the problem with these messages that I do have is his clear awareness of the relationship needing to be a secret. Now, the relationship would need to be a secret for 2 likely reasons. One would be either party or both of them wanting privacy, or 2, because David knew that being an adult with a high school girlfriend would be perceived as weird. He hid Celeste as much as he could as well, showing a pattern of understanding the inappropriate age gap but pursuing it anyway. This makes any argument that David's social isolation made him unable to understand age gaps significantly weaker, because if at 18 he could understand a relationship with a 16-year-old would look bad, he obviously understood a 13-year-old would be even worse. But yet, he still pursued Celeste and broke up with this other girl. And I mean, when you look at David in other domains, the fact he built a semi-successful gaming YouTube channel that made good money before music, the fact he was able to build such a big social media presence with tons of fans, the fact he was able to negotiate with big record labels, and the fact he was able to construct a multi-layered fantasy, show that David is far from lacking social awareness and social perception. Yes, he was homeschooled, but he still understood how society worked. He still understood that being in a relationship with Celeste was not just wrong, but illegal. So, looking at both sides, where do I lie now in terms of my conclusion? David wasn't operating from a state of age blindness. I do believe Celeste told him her age, and he just rolled with it, because it wasn't like anyone would find out he was friends with an 11-year-old online. He understood it was wrong, as those later messages suggest, but as long as no one knew, he was fine to continue. I have to make that clear in case anyone misunderstood my previous analysis as me saying he became friends with Celeste thinking it was okay and perfectly fine. He knew it was wrong, but he was lonely and homeschooled, so he took what he could get. If no one his own age wanted to be friends with him, maybe due to him being emotionally stunted and coming across as corny, Celeste giving him attention would have outweighed the risk of him being caught talking to her. I still think the hardest part to assess is whether David was this predator, consuming CSAM and having sexual fantasies of minors prior to his initial contact with Celeste, or whether that developed after they'd already begun speaking, to which he then acted on when she turned 13. There's no evidence that's yet been documented of David showing other paedophilic behaviour in those 22 months between meeting Celeste online and having with her. That distinction matters clinically, and it's one that the available evidence can't definitively settle until we get more evidence from the courts and the eventual trial. My honest intellectual position, incorporating the full evidence, including those messages and the claims that there were other minors, is that the original framing was partially correct, that the initial connection may have been genuine, but I overstated the degree to which David was operating without the awareness of what he was doing. He knew, and the evidence shows he knew, but what allowed him to proceed is where there's still room for us to debate this. Because in the original analysis, I stated that due to him wanting control, getting with someone younger made it easier to have a controllable victim. It made sense to me because he'd been controlled by his own parents and had developed narcissistic traits. So control was something he craved, and he likely wouldn't have been able to control someone who was of age and headstrong. he preferred to go for girls younger and mentally weaker. But other people seem to feel like it was pure attraction to underage girls, rather than that control aspect. But that's where the presence of him being 18 in a relationship with his 16-year-old during the same period complicates the picture. It suggests his attraction was not exclusively limited to young teenagers like Celeste, but may have been more broadly oriented towards younger, less powerful partners. Minors from unstable home environments, accessible through online platforms, financially dependent on him, and socially isolated by the relationship. They represent the controllability profile rather than the specific age-based attraction. That doesn't make the offending less serious, it just changes how you look at his psychology. The initial connection may have been genuine, but the escalation was not accidental. David understood what he was doing at each stage and chose to continue, managing the concealment that his own awareness of the problem required. Whether that constitutes a predatory orientation towards minors specifically, or a control-oriented pattern that targeted vulnerable young people irrespective of age, is a distinction the available evidence can't fully resolve. And acknowledging that distinction honestly is more intellectually rigorous than collapsing it in either direction. That's the honest answer. And honest answers, even when they complicate your own prior position, are what distinguish serious analysis from content that simply confirms what the audience already wants to believe. I hope that cleared up any confusion, as after seeing so many people leaving comments about that point, I wanted to make it more understandable to everyone. And as you can see, without including those text messages, it does make a significant change to the analysis. At the end of all this, whatever side you landed on, there was still a young girl who was preyed upon at some stage by a guy she thought was a friend, was manipulated, groomed, and then killed when she tried to do the right thing. And the whole time, he knew exactly what he was doing. So once more, rest in peace, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. If you would like to see the other evidence that I didn't include in the original video because they were too hard to verify or use clinically, I went through those already on my Patreon. So the link to that is in the description if you want to check that out. I've been Jay Wisdom, and until next time.
You can be the first millennium with a trip on their phone. How? They do that hundreds of times.
This is I don't know who that other viewer is.
Got that right.
But I want to show you that things we do. I don't know who the fuck that other viewer is. They might be just watching, just trying to see some shit. But I never seen this shit in my papers. It got me thinking, like, what the fuck did they got in there?
Oh, so like nobody heard this song and like wanted to talk to him or something? Like, it's like, yo, are you okay, man?
Even he wanted today.
I'll send it to you. It's nothing serious. I mean, it's kind of...
It's crucial for us to understand who Jared Higgins was before he...
Young Thug's life is in...
Oh, yeah, we could definitely FaceTime.
Florida's music scene is...
You ain't gotta do that. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. There's somebody just watching, bro. Just go on here, bro. If you ain't fucking with a nigga, get on.
Alicia Andrews helped Julio's ops kill him and went to trial before any of the shooters.
Weirdo.
She was laughing and putting on makeup when the trial started, but nobody knew how crazy the situation was about to get. The prosecution kicked off the case by explaining the brutal hit on Julio. They broke down how the shooter stopped Julio on his birthday, set up an ambush, rifled in the block with a switch, so Julio didn't have any chance of making it out alive.
All of that gunfire filling the dark, early morning hours with booming concussion and bright, flashing muzzle flashes as these high-pressure and high-powered rounds flooded the atmosphere in front of that Dodge Charger.
Something wrong, man.
But El Mitchell was an organ trafficker. That was his biggest business. And, you know, that's who Epstein was getting a lot of kids from. So, in order to tie out the loose ends, they went and got them.
Imagine that you and your friend are deep in the wilderness, at a lake without a trail, enjoying a beautiful day catching fish, when all of a sudden something happens that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Something that to this day...
You just playing music. Operation Devil Monkey. The Gangs of Tokyo.
So, in 2025, there was some Yakuza doing a ritual in a hotel with the Chinese Mafia to strengthen their alliance. And it was all put together by a gang called the Chinese Dragons, who were involved in what some sources call a 100-man brawl on the 58th floor of a skyscraper in Tokyo. In my last video on this subject, I didn't just stick to Tokyo. I covered examples all over Japan. But most importantly, I mostly covered the crime wave where random groups of people were paid to do stuff on behalf of others. But I didn't cover most of the actual organized gang activity going on in the country's capital. The Chinese Dragons, the guys who had the 100-man brawl in the skyscraper, they're actually descended from Japanese
Presentation. It just makes you stop and ask, how does all of that?
President drinks it down, believe him. The entire story you just gave is a lie. But did you see that video from the Tesla, from the shooting? That big movie just like trying to shoot a gun? He was killing Sean. Yeah, he did. Had like 7 balls on him and ran up on Julio, but he like kind of hung out in the back. Oh shit. That's about the highest thing got about that. That's crazy.
In day 6 of the Julio murder trial, Davion Murphy's full interview is played to the jury. The detectives literally troll this man in front of him and make fun of the way he shot at Fulvio. Davion talks shit about Sean to the detectives, and they're getting like...
Becoming a nurse is closer than you think. WGU's pre-licensure BSN program combines flexible
interrogation for the Darcy in my life. And subscribe to Good Voice.
What was it? Regular pasta from Black and Blue. Yeah, I walked in this gas station.
That's the detective that testified. He said he wants a black and mild, you don't want a cigarette.
That's what I got. 27 cents. Oh, yeah, we ran down the street from the 7-Eleven. I ain't got nothing over the money. You wouldn't believe the shit that came in here. You feel me? I seen a gun coming there. Oh, yeah, you gonna get my cigarette? You gonna get me a black one? I can't smoke it here, but whenever you go out, I'll have it for you. I swear, hey, I promise. I got a piss too. Last night I had a dream. Ain't nobody change. These fuck niggas stop saying my name. Niggas not starting beef. We play big. But people ain't not big as fuck. Where are they feeling?
I knew this was a Rod Wave song.
Trying my hardest, so close to falling.
You do.
And it's in my heart, it's on my face.
We just saw his eyes cry, bro. This just pissed me off, man. I'm gonna have to blur this, man.
You ever watch Bates Motel?
That's crack. Bro, pull him up.
They try to change, they stop saying my motherfucking name. Never started to be. Let's start the beach and play business. But people in my business, where's my business? I ain't got time to close.
I might have to make this a dumb video. This is so dumb. I want y'all to see this, bro. Because I feel like I'll put this at the end of the video. No one's gonna. This is so dumb. Does he know? He
Man,
knows
I
he
love
recorded
that
it. Yeah, he
series.
flashes a gang sign sometimes.
Original. You need that drink? No, I'm good. No, they don't have to water. I can't buy you beer and everything. You want something else? No, Pepsi or anything? Alright, give us just a second. Since you guys are on the table, right? I'm just going to do that real quick. Appreciate it, bro. Oh, my straight. Man, I need this the whole time, man. Went to the came back. Went to the came back. How far?
Is he expressing frustration for getting caught there? I think.
Oh, listen, I know that bully will come across. I'm going to motherfucker. And I mean, that's a kid. And I can sleep on under the tent. This is having a channel. He can work so she can hold.
I just remembered everyone in the courtroom is watching this and just looking at him. He's just sitting there. It's so awkward, including his co-defendants. This guy
I need to watch that.
Crazy. He's just actually talking to himself and pacing.
A good doctor. I need to watch that.
He just said something about stealing jeans. I wonder what he's thinking right now, bro, watching this.
Nobody understands my soul. Take the soul out of my breath, I still be the loudest nigga. Those socks on the food. Man, come out of this video, packet. I feel like getting my phone. I feel like getting my phone. Just got that. Don't let that hold you, my shit. Please.
He said, I pray they get my phone before my girl get it. Why are all... Dude, this has happened in another case I covered, where these dudes literally said they want the cops to get their phone before their girl gets it. These motherfuckers cannot be loyal.
Please don't let baby get the shit. I mean, man, this shit crazy. Niggas gonna be arguing about it. They can go up and take Mates, I've been doing my thing, though. What you talking about? I ain't gotta be in this. The best way to hide from a white man is in plain sight. What you talking about? All those niggas looking like dirty ass. The best place to hide from a white man is in plain sight. All those niggas looking like, who you man? Oh, you remember Airbnb up there? Sits down.
They tripping off that shit.
Then the houses. So totally think I'm gonna be that bitch last night.
Whoa. What did you just say about Airbnb and hotels? You talking about like on the run and shit?
Airbnb, 7 hotel rooms. Then
Oh, shit. I was in my other phone tempted to find something to eat again. Sleep well, man. Rest well. I'm just gonna be chilling. I'm probably go to bed too myself soon. You know how this shit go, man.
some totally think I'm gonna be that bitch last night. I was around your hunt. Oh, still up like that, bro. I tell bro.
I still have this complaint of why do they have the worst audio in these rooms? And sometimes it's terrible camera quality. This is good camera quality, like for what it usually is. Why is there not a microphone down here on the table plugged in? They cost $50.
Amazon man. Police man. Fuck you crazy like Amazon police man. Oh, you got that back around, bitch. You can walk to jail. I walk to jail and go on me. And then let dog go from the dog and beat the dog ass, bro. I don't just talk about dog. I'm gonna beat the dog ass. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna do that to dog. Right? Really shit.
I think he just said about the dog they had when they were arresting him. He said, I was going to beat that dog ass. I'm not going to let that dog bite me. We're regretting it right now. Punching that damn table. I think he just said somebody told on me, bro.
I just want to reiterate to everyone sitting in this courtroom, you better not be taking audio or video recordings of anything that happened in here. Because somebody did. And someone posted it online. And if I find out who did it, you're going to be in big trouble.
What was posted? Oh, okay, I did some digging. Someone posted a picture of it, like, autopsy shit, a folio.
This is all being monitored by security. So we can see everything that happens.
They just started playing, like, Ariana Grande or something. I forgot they're doing that so he can't hear them now. Outside of the room because the walls are thin. Birds of... Who made the song Birds of a Feather? Is that Billie... Oh, it's Billie Eilish, not Ariana Grande.
Like I was telling you, obviously, that's a great song. Just have to tell you that in here because for whatever reason, I guess we're working in the car or some shit. The benefit of that is you can look at what the fuck I'm about to show you and just be like, whatever it may be, because I don't. This isn't our case, you feel me? You're able to read, right, Daniel? Can you read this first time out loud for me? You just woke up and just got right to it. Marijuana this morning, about the same time. President drinks now. That's my choice to tequila personally. This one's Sarah Brown.
Detective just said, I'm surprised you weren't drinking some Don Julio. Oh.
Is it me or is it really not this room? It is. I'm sitting here sweating.
They're being so friendly with them.
Obviously, it's no secret why you're in here, right? It's been, I certainly have to, I've been doing this job for a hot minute. To do what you've done for 7 months is quite impressive. But as I told you, I'd like to just show you a couple pictures and some videos and carry on. Tampa can't make it, unfortunately, but the good thing about that is we don't have to fucking sit here and wait 4 hours for them to drive the street out of something. There's a song in here too. Dude, have you ever tried these? Celsius energy drinks? Dude, it keeps me going. Oh, this is another thing I'm doing. Like a rum and red guy, aren't you? Yeah. No. Important. The Newport guy. I get my hands on anything that falls out.
Bye-bye.
You're hurting for a squirt, you just have to grab it.
We're finally out of here.
From an Airbnb down in Tampa. You recognize that person? What is it about the play? Just keep looking at it. Looks like it's a ring. The king ring. Yeah. Do you recognize that person?
Well, not that I should have seen.
You see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Does it look like you? I mean, you can say yes, it is, right? Okay, so obviously you remember being in Tampa. That's not a secret, right? Would you agree? I think there's a little, it's a short drive.
He shook his head when he said he remembers being in Tampa. He just admitted it.
I will say, just from what I know, I think a lot of almost everything, including the reports and like the press conference and stuff, has been made public. But I think it's fair to say the only thing you may not know is what people have said in this room. Alicia, Isaiah, Sean, and Rashad. Rashad is the one that caught me off guard the most, but is Rashad your cousin or like your brother? Both.
Not like no incest shit, but that's really been with my brother though.
He's close like a brother, but he's like blood your cousin.
Yeah, two sides, that's really my cousin.
On the mom's side or dad's side? So your dad and his dad and your brothers, or is your dad and his mom or brothers?
Why do you bring up incest? Where's the answer was that? These detectives are just getting him comfortable.
I didn't know about the relationship with the longest time. And just obviously I have to ask, did you know Alicia at all? Isaiah? The only person you knew was Rashad. Did you see any of them in that Airbnb in Tampa while you were there? Like just passing by? I was just if you don't mind me asking, what's your opinion on this? Like you're not in Tampa. But you're on the video in Tampa. Yeah, but I'm saying, I ain't saying like that. I'm saying like, I didn't come from Jacksonville to go to something. You feel me? Right. I was in Orlando. You feel me? And I talked about Orlando. And my phone was up. That's how I ended up. You feel me? Okay.
So you just said I'm from Orlando, because his lawyer's been trying to say he's in Orlando type shit. Oh, I have a blood vessel popped in my eye.
In that video, do you remember seeing Rashad there or any of the other people? And like, what was your business doing there?
I was really going to see Fizzle and my cousin.
Darius?
Alright, so talking about Darius Beals, who's dead. He wasn't dead at the time, but he's dead a few days later after Julio died. So him and Rashad doing the same thing, throwing a dead person's name out there because it's like, doesn't matter. It's not really snitching, it's like trying to confuse the cops, but bro, come on. They know he wasn't there.
Was Darius down there? Was Darius down there? Yeah. At that Airbnb?
I was going to see Philly.
Okay. Do you remember how you got down there?
No, I told you I live in Orlando. Like,
you actually have an old Orlando address.
I live in Orlando. I was living with my mother. I moved away.
So you didn't take a plane from Orlando to Tampa, right? Did you take a bus? You didn't walk.
What was that loud ass sound and description?
At CLA, we're not just in your corner, we're on it. So our advice never comes from off the shelf. It's built from the inside out. Wherever you
Hot tub sucks. We knew our last Verbo was going to be incredible. We didn't know the hot tub was broken. But Verbo had our
Unpolice, singer, songwriter, farmer, and a chef.
all done.
I'm gonna go to 3 iconic New York spots.
He took me really because I ain't seen my cousin yet. You feel me? So I was going down there intentionally to meet my cousin. When I went down there, I see 3 people that I don't even motherfucking know.
The people that have been on the news.
I see my people in Fizzle. I'm thinking that my cousin Fizzle down there. I'm like,
Rashad.
yeah, I'm thinking my cousin Fizzle down there. They come to I get that it's 3 randomized people in Fizzle. So I'm trying to feel like, bro, like, I know you're definitely. Bro, I ain't seen you there, bro, but I don't want to really do so much of the crowd shit. And I went on.
So he acting like he don't know Sean, Isaiah, and Alicia.
Who is your homeboy's friend that brought you to him back?
One down Brandon.
Brandon.
Brandon? No, I ain't getting
Okay. Yeah, I can add stuff, right? Just to be fair enough. Brandon, does he have a nickname? Do you remember what his vehicle was? Was it a car, a motorcycle, a van?
I really can't say it's some little blue shit. I don't be knowing you. I don't be knowing the car.
Like a little blue car?
Unless it's a Hyundai Sonata, I don't be knowing the car.
Sidetracking just a little bit. You obviously heard what happened to Darius, right? In Clay County. What's your opinion on that? Like, do you know who did that or heard anything?
I said they were trying to tell about my dog.
I keep hearing this all black boy from MPD.
I don't know none of these people. You feel me? Yeah. So all these new young niggas
Kurt and Tank ain't new.
Who just look as Kurt? I never heard of people, never met people that day in my life. Never seen them. It was on cycles. I said they were little boys. Never seen them. Like, even out here, even just chilling on the block, going over there, you know, niggas hang over there.
You're born in Jacksonville, is that right?
Born and raised.
What side of town do you grow up on?
I grew up downtown. I'm from downtown.
Like what road?
I'm from downtown. Like down to this area.
Like Forsyth?
Yeah, Forsyth, all that.
Main Street? All that. I noticed that tattoo on the back of your neck. 1200? You from out east?
I'm from downtown area.
I'm from the west side. Type shit.
This detective Drebeck is a troll. He said, I'm from the west side, and he's pointing out his 1,200 tattoos and shit.
I came upon him in 6 weeks that his kid growing up without parents, bro. That shit, they sucks. Say your mama get killed, and you don't turn around, something happen to you, brother, they won't expect that.
His baby mom got killed? Where was that?
I don't know.
Is it after this? Okay. Like years ago. Okay. Just to recap, that video I showed you, that's the Airbnb. You described it as you were only there for a few hours. Does that sound right? Okay.
Rashad had the same story. He just showed up there just to check in 4 hours from where he was. So stupid.
That's why I told you you wanted up. That's why I left. So I'm thinking my cousin. If my cousin, if somebody call me and tell me my cousin say, if somebody call me and say, yeah man, your cousin Bozzy Squad, they get that the third, this shit creep out here, man. So if a nigga call me and say, man, yeah, me and your cousin, man, all us, man, we turned up, man, I hold down this bitch, man. We going, we finna get around, we finna get around, go out and get drunk, that's what we did in this bitch. Boom, alright, that's what it is. I got an old lady. I already know what type of time y'all got going on. I'm facing to my old lady, so I really can't, you feel me, and hang out like I really want to, you feel me? Y'all must still come through and see y'all. Okay, I was supposed to come Saturday night. But when they called me, but I'm like, man, I ain't gonna go on this chill. You feel me? I ain't gonna go on this chill. I'm gonna stay here because she already put me in attitude. You feel me? Yeah. I'm gonna people outside, let alone out here already in Orlando as it is. She put up attitude, so you feel me? So I'm like, man, I'm gonna just chill, butter up, fuck the good that night, man. I'm going to see my cousin. Fuck the good that night, man. I pulled it up after getting up fucking yell, man. I'm going to see my cousin. Then come back a week later. I'm not even a week later, 2 weeks and a half, 2 weeks later, like, man, shit on Instagram, man, RP physical, man.
So he's just been ranting and raving about Darius Beals dying, acting like he was there when he wasn't.
Did you go anywhere else in Tampa or just the Airbnb? I just went straight to the Airbnb. You didn't stop at a stop at the gas station. How did you said you never gone there or something like that? You mentioned leaving on them somewhere. I didn't just leave on I came to see him. And then it was like, as soon as I seen him, all that, it was like, he seen us a long time, like, I'm gonna just keep it short for y'all, like, you feel me? Like, we talked up for a little minute, said what I've been on, yeah, but I've been down this bitch working right now, like 2 feet off, I work at Cracker Barrel, and I work at State Shit right now, you know, I'm doing them at the new. Well, I'm coming since I've been going, you feel me? I came home. You said you went Orlando to Tampa, and then back to Orlando, but now you're in Jacksonville. Is that when you get back to Jacksonville? Oh, I get back to Jacksonville. So I came back to Jacksonville, it was like, I want to say like a week before I was moving. And I was moving. And then 2 days after I was moving, my face passed all over the news. Bro, I need to tell myself, hey, I gotta do y'all job. Y'all get y'all job, nigga. Question.
He just said he saw himself on the news. He's like, I ain't turning myself in. Y'all gotta do your job.
After Julio gets killed, was when in Tampa. Did you hear about that at all when you were at that Airbnb? Was anyone talking about it? No. Okay. I wasn't even thinking that nothing. I woke up that morning before I even took off the Tampa. I woke up that morning and before I called my dog, I always check my social media. But just like the app, she Google and all that shit. I seen that shit come across Instagram. But they ain't seen nothing about the location or where it was at, or nothing. They just said Jacksonville rapper dead. So, you know, I ain't gonna, you know, not come around and God bless that, my people. You feel me? They ain't gonna sit there like it's love, dog. You feel me? Nigga, I can't say I ain't rejoicing, I was happy. Yeah. But you feel me? It's like, it was that. Like, so no, he dead. Oh, shit, he dead. Call him. Oh, shit. So you heard about it on social media? Yeah, I seen no Instagram. There was no conversation done at the Airbnb. After I seen them from my mama sent it to me. From the same picture I seen on Instagram, my mama sent it to me from my phone. And I'm like, yeah, I already seen it. She's like, I can't believe it. Oh my God, I just pray for his family.
His own mama texted him about Julio dying, not knowing her son was a part of it.
That's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic. I'm not really investigating this. If you go way back to like the Yellow Households, 4 videos and shit, there's like 1,200 people posted up in that hilltop like years ago. Walk used to post up out there. And Noah, yeah. A lot of people, anyways. This was like the whole like Waffle, Gucci, original. It's like the whole like PCE days. He gotta be a creative solution. Gucci? What about J-Dot? I never met J-Dot Breezy? Oh, the rapper? Yeah. Oh, that's what? Yeah, I don't know dog. I don't know dog at all. He's a pretty good player. You don't know that shit. Good, pretty good player. He's a good player. That's why I'm telling you.
He's calling all these people creative players, like they're not really from the streets.
Julio getting shot back in June. Did you spend any time in Jacksonville at all during that time?
What, in June?
Yeah, June, May, July. Would you say April was the last time you were in Jacksonville prior to this?
What, prior to what?
Prior to June.
June, I was never in Jacksonville in June.
Okay. There's a little gas station over there. I think it's called like the Sun Express. I think it's at like Atlantic Interior or something like that. Anyways, what I'm getting at is you have transactions there. Obviously, there's video, right? And I'm pointing your attention to that because you know Tampa did a good job on this, right?
We have you tracked with your credit card transactions, essentially, is what he's confronting him with.
You say your last time in Jacksonville was April. I can tell you that those transactions and you in that store was in June. So is there anything that refreshes your memory a little bit of being in Jacksonville in June? When was that? Okay. Well, the video was on, right? Is there anything that would have brought video? I don't know. I know you. Yeah, I know you that. If you so called out a video from that story, there's a lot of videos, right? Well, can I see them? I don't have them. This isn't my case. I can try and get them while we're here. There's also video of you and Alicia at McDonald's in Tampa. Where you get stopped to eat. Yes. You're in the drive-thru. Driving some. I've seen the video. I don't have it. I can probably get it for everyone. I'm gonna leave this.
You know his heart's dropping like, why would we go to McDonald's?
He did travel to Tampa with Fizzle, Darius Fields, and on Sunday, that morning, I believe. And when he got there, he obviously, Rashad gets in the Uber with Isaiah and Alicia and come back to Jacksonville. And Darius goes on his way. That was his story. Darius was murdered. He died with his cell phones in his pockets, okay? I'm not asking you to say this, I just want to hear you out. Clay County has his phones, they downloaded all of them. Did Rashad travel to Tampa with Darius the day of the murder? And the answer was no. Darius never leaves Clay County at any point during any of this. And in fact, he goes to the Orange Park Mall, which they have video of. So what I'm getting at is the story you just shared with us, right? Of you think that all this and that, it can't be true because Darius never leaves Orange Park. Positive. Swear to God. Wouldn't make it up. Hear me out.
He's like, dang, I just know his heart's dropping.
Dang,
I don't even know why my face was plastered all over the room. That's why I ran. Because, y'all got wrong person, bro.
But the entire story you just gave is a lie.
I know this 100%. We have Fizzle
in Orange Park
in his Foot Locker Sunday morning.
No, he goes to the food court.
He's in the food court, which is outside the Foot Locker in Orange Park Mall, on camera. The same time that you said that you're dapping him up, giving him a hug in an Airbnb in Tampa.
So they have video footage of Fizzle in Jacksonville at the mall or whatever, not in Tampa with them, because he was never there, bro.
If y'all feel like I lied, and y'all feel like I got videos of him in one part alone, I told you, my own eyes, I seen him talk to this man that day. So it's like,
yeah, I wanted to share that with you. Obviously, I think it's fair. Unless, in the event that you wanted to.
I know for a fact why I seen him talk to my dog. Last time I talked to my dog, this is none right here. This is the last time I talked to my dog, bro. For a week after, and my dog got hit more than one time and took him his kid. Like, shit, his kid. It's not kid. So, like, you keep saying you seen him in the one talk on the video. I'm telling you, the last time I talked to my dog, fuck no, yeah. I already lied to you. How long for the video?
They're wrapping up the paperwork now.
Realizing right now.
I need some more fucking liquor, bro.
You say you need some more liquor?
You can't tell me y'all that good, but I've been directly in y'all faces. That's why I'm like, I've been directly in Jada Sophie. I ain't gonna say y'all, Jada Sophie. I mean, I can tell you that we're good. I've been Ubers, Lyfts, you know, every Lyft is just a kill. B&Bs. Already questioning on Reddit. Already questioning on Reddit. Heard what they saying? Yeah. That was what they do. Especially 30 minutes ago. Yeah, you be in B&Bs. They got a video of them? Nah, not yet. We gotta do that instead. Yeah, I ain't wanna see no video. We got to. What, you said?
At Food Lion, I get MVP savings on apples, strawberries, and blueberries. Me too! Oh, I don't think that's the same thing. What do you mean? Pies. They're fresh. Really fresh.
You ain't right, cause that could get a monkey. I got a llama. Be back.
Ghostface is still killing them.
Buying a vehicle should feel just as good as driving one. At Cavalier Ford, we believe the experience matters just
Axel, I was concerned when Rashad gave the story that he did. We call it an alibi, essentially, but Clay County was able to help them with that. Literally, the next day, we called the next day. And I can assure you, the story you gave it sucks, right? I explained to you why. I'm not bluffing you. I swear on my mother, all that's true that I explained to you why. I'm not bluffing you. I swear on my mother, all that's true that I told. I wanted to give you one last opportunity to share maybe another story that you'd like to share with us. If you want to say that, that's fine.
You realize the seriousness of like this is a death penalty case. So like I know you said you've been here. That's what I'm telling you. What I ain't worried about. Yeah. Look who we talking about. Look who we talking about. But here's the thing. Here's the thing is, y'all are used to Duval County stuff, and the way that Duval County and this judicial circuit operates. Just Hillsborough County is another beast. They don't handle violent crime like we do. You see what I mean? Granted, our numbers are way down this year. Praise the Lord. Yeah, we don't need violence in the city. But I think it's a safe place and a vacation spot. But Hillsborough, they don't know what it's like to have 150 homicides in a year. You know what I mean? It's like I know it comes new to us, where down there they're like, holy crap. But like I'm being honest with you, I've talked to them, the attorneys and stuff there, they're trying like 4 different death penalty cases this year, and it's like, what? This is the first one I've been on law enforcement for 8.5 years. This is the first one I've ever been part of or like seen. So I don't want you to think it's just like you said, it's a different thing. It's a different, like a whole different judicial.
Hillsborough County don't play.
But and I hope it don't be a biased thing. I hope it don't be a biased thing because it's nothing wrong with it. It's the biased thing. The biased thing is treating him like a victim, like his mama. Treating him like a victim, like his mama doing over the internet. Like my auntie died this way before my auntie was depressed, dead reading. My grandma died behind that. My grandma had a heart attack behind the songs that he was making.
He's basically admitting motive here. His aunt was depressed and his grandma died over what Julio was doing in song. Auntie was depressed over Gerard Adams dying in 2018 is what he's talking about.
Dead reading.
She was bedridden.
My died behind that. My grandma had a heart attack behind the songs that he was making. Because he was always like Corbin mama couldn't walk out of the house without seeing somebody in the public. You know how they do TikToks anyway. Where's Corbin? Yeah, that's it. You gotta feel like somebody pissed. I'm crazy. You gotta feel like who we talking about this crazy way. Bias. I just pray it don't be biased. I ain't had nothing to do with it. I'm remain my innocent man, whatever happened to this man.
The motive was just put on a plate to the jury.
I just pray it don't be biased. Don't be biased. Like, don't be jury. Yeah, don't be biased. Don't treat him like a victim. Like you did. Do you think that United States gonna like try and do that though? Yeah, I'm already. Do you think that works like both ways though? Like I get it what's going on and like the disrespect. I don't know about I wasn't here, so I don't know. He got hurt, right? He got hurt. It was a fight going on. He got killed. Robert. he went to jail for it. So we can say it's by him.
Never seen him. I done seen his face in the news and shit. I
But
know.
we locked him up, but yeah, so. Do you think he should be treated like a victim either, King? Because he got hit up there with this.
No, bro. Like,
I think he was the one that started. Yeah. What do you see what I'm saying? Like,
He knows Kenny. I'm pretty sure I remember him and Kenny Caps have like screamed at each other somewhere in public or something like, but they're also not cool. Kenny Caps actually, I read some of his paperwork on why he got federal charges. That man sold meth to an undercover cop, like 0.8 pounds or some shit of meth.
I get what you're saying. Like, it's very disrespectful to even to say that stuff and do the thing for the time. But at the same time, that your friends, I'm not somewhere of the same.
2 years ago, you feel me? Like, I'm that's right. Like, that's them.
But if you think that somebody's word,
I'm not into someone saying, fuck this person. You ain't got no folks from back in the day, even Sofa. I know y'all know who Sofa is. Sofa came to show you a picture from back in the day. He been studying this in 2011.
but
So you can't show you no picture where I said, you can't show you a post where I said none of that. It's like, it's
but how do you feel? Do you feel like it's them? I mean,
bro, my auntie was, like, one of my auntie is on that part. My auntie was big, bro.
so you saw what happens when, but you heard and you've seen the direct impact it's had on your family and your friends. Dude, what would be the return of, what do you think the impact is on his family and friends? You see what I'm saying? Like, if that sucks for you watching your family go through that, what do you think? Do you think this has the same effect on his family and friends? Or on like any of the other victims of this war's family and friends?
Are you worried about what the other people
Like Alicia and Isaiah didn't shoot up?
I know you don't know them. I don't know them. Like, what can they say about me? You know, pertaining to me.
Or just like the whole concept of the event, right?
Sure, I seen when they arrested him, they seen the big ass poster called "Put It Down." I seen that. I'm like,
My Isaiah Chance poster in his room.
Because you're honestly, you're in the worst spot. You're the last one. Everyone else has already been sitting for 9 months, or 7 months, because that's all I'm sure. And so, you don't know what they've been.
that's all. I'm planning to fight though. I would take my innocence.
But just random out of curiosity, right? Because you know how these things work out. You've been on the road. With the amount of evidence they do have, obviously the videos and shit, what do you plan to like explain through cooperating co-defendants? Like, how do you work your way through
I
that?
don't know the so-called. I don't know the so-called evidence they have in front of me. You just showed me that.
He said cooperating co-defendants. He's just trying to be like, yo, you might get snitched on here. You don't know what they said already.
Bro, did you see that video from the Tesla? That big goofy dude just like trying to shoot a gun. What was your opinion of his shots? The big goofy guy in the back that got captured on the Tesla.
Yeah, I seen that video one time and never looked at it.
He looked like he had another gun in his life. And he brought his tens were like so big. He looked like he was killed Sean. Yeah, he did. God bless you. Like this other man. Oh, dude. Was on his Fortnite level.
They are trolling him. We are watching detectives troll him, calling him goofy and recreating the shooting and saying he almost killed Sean.
Had like 7 balls on him and ran up on Julio, but he like kind of hung out in the back. Oh shit. Rashawn ran up with his car through the windshield. Sean was just right on top of that. Oh, that shit was wild, man.
It's the jury is seeing all this.
You said, Rashad ran up with the switch.
Yeah.
And you talking about the switch. See, that's when you too.
The little vinyl active clock that makes it automatically go.
I never seen those shits in person on the game.
This is a little button. I swear to God, but that's the movie too. I hear rap. Yeah, I was in Evo back in 2018. They were talking. I ain't old school. That's something else was pretty good. It's like the dude that was by the Tesla was a pretty good guy. Yeah. They had him in the front seat. They had him in the back seat, and all they would need like butter to get him out. Like get out of that car so fast. Oh yeah, like Chevy. Yeah. Stay there for a minute.
What did he just say? Getting out of the Impala, being that big with him, wait, making fun of him.
That's about the height of the guy. That's crazy. We measured it before we came in here. But I don't know, this thing is like running. You want to live just like him? What's she about 5'9", 5'10"? No, 5'11".
This is some of the best interrogation footage I've ever seen in my life. They just stood his ass up and said, "You're about the same size as the guy that was on the Tesla cam. Look exactly like him."
Yeah, bro. About 230. I've lost a bunch of weight since the murder because you've been stressed. I told you, bro. I drank every day. I was getting high every day. I was smoking blacks every day. Man, I was eating. I went to work. I shot my brother. I actually gained weight. I was thinking about that. I was. For what it's worth, I think it's worth pointing out that Sean, the light skin fellow, is pretty much the person that like really broke this thing wide open. Sean did. He I've seen him in the vlogs. They say they trying to escape from me. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why he drives from Tampa back to Polk County. Is in the black Chevy. They have him on his granny's video surveillance, wiping it down, right? Then he gets back in his gold Toyota and drives back from Polk County back to Jacksonville, which is where we stop him. This dumbass has casings from the murder scene from Julio. You do that? Swear to God. I thought all that shit was fake. Rifles with brass catchers, you name it. I thought that shit was fake. I thought it was yeah, I thought no. His phone is at this, literally at the scene when it happens in the parking lot. So it's just, you're just in a period of time. I don't remember the actual scene.
This is so good.
He was the biggest crash dummy. You know why God made sidewalks? Because some people get hanging. You know they call people that can't hang in the streets? They call them crash dummies. There you go. You know it's really well. So that rifle that we got at the brass station with all the cases in it from that.
Holly doesn't pay for cart wranglers. Those savings go to you.
Finding the things you and your family need to be well is kind of a big deal. Finding ways to save on those things is an There's something about this place.
It's really our passion to share what we do.
OMG, y'all. Travelers swear by this one trick. What's up?
Can we see Sean's reaction to this? Please, hand the camera to him.
At the brass station with all the cases in it from that murder, and when he gets down to Tampa, they're going to take his DNA and probably going to get on that rifle. Yeah. Well, they got Sean's DNA out already from the tape. I'll shoot you some names. I was just telling my people, I'm like, bro, this is what, man, they can try to do what they want to do. Yeah. Friday, I don't give a fuck, man. Just let you turn yourself in after Friday? Probably. You lie? No, like, I'm talking to nah, you just said you like, okay. A couple months or a year down the road, when everybody forgot who Davion Murphy was. Once everybody in 6-7 months or so forget who Davion Murphy is, the last one, I would say probably Giants was the only guy this time.
You can hit us up, we'll come back and chat with you. Your fame is, unfortunately, has come to an end, just being honest with you. It is truly nothing but respect. You lasted a good while. I'm gonna tell y'all, y'all made some mistakes. Y'all made wrong life. What mistakes I made? That's what I'm trying to capture. What mistakes I made? I think the biggest one you made was tonight in this room in the interview. What? You said you were jumping it up with Darius.
Okay, what just happened was, you said, what mistakes did I make on the run? How did I get captured? And he goes, now the biggest mistake you just did was during the interview where you made up the story about Darius, just like Rashad did, because Darius was in Jacksonville.
I come to the source to do our job, we did. Yeah, definitely. In a couple months, year, whenever everything's died down and nobody knows you or anymore, hit us up and we'll get on and chat with you. We love talking to you about some of that. Yeah, we love talking about some old school stuff, maybe some sofa, value stuff, so.
Throw up the Tesla. He's mumbling about the Tesla video.
Numb to the love, numb to the pain, numb to the brain, numb to the pain, numb to the brain. Did they see 2 times again? Did they see 2 times and nobody outside? All I really want to know is who gon' ride off of Peter Fry. He gon' feel me feeling sometimes. All I really want to know is who get high. This is hard, so I'm proud. I just need someone to listen. I'm on the cuff sitting. It ain't no better fit. Numb again. Up all night waiting on the sun again. I was there for you. I was back against the ropes. Where were you when I needed to the most? Numb to the brain. Numb to the pain. Numb to Day 5K. White water. I'm scared of my name. In another spot.
Oh, he did it on accident. He did the gang sign on accident and switched it very quickly. Oh my god, that's what that was. Because he tried to act like he wasn't 1200.
Alright, very good. So, good for the jury.
Alright, very good. So I just watched this for like 3 hours. I want to die. That was miserable. I can't believe the jury just heard all that. Like the detective saying all that and trolling him, calling Sean an idiot. I'm shocked. I'm kind of surprised the judge let a lot of that in. Because usually I feel like detective statements like that aren't allowed in other trials I've seen. But hit subscribe. Thanks for support. Peace out, boys.
Proceed. Please state your full name for the record. Alicia Kaufman, Kaufman. How are you employed? I'm a crime scene investigator with the City of Tampa Police Department. How long have you been a crime scene investigator? 16 years. Back on June. Which case it goes to? Yes, ma'am. Tell us what you are documented in 68B. That's going to be the exterior of the Charger. And is that how it looked when you arrived? Yes, ma'am. And you did not put all of the yellow stickers there that indicated damage, is that correct? That's correct. What specifically were you tasked with documenting and collecting? Specifically, I was to go through and see if I could follow any of those tracks or marks to see if we could find any bullets or fragments that were inside the vehicle, whether it was in the vehicle frame or if it was to do that in this case. Yes, ma'am. Tell us what is in 68C. So we're looking underneath the hood. And then 68D. So it's a little bit difficult, but there's a bar that comes down in between, kind of in the middle of the picture from right to left. He's pointed out where what is in 68H. So that's just the back end of the stuff that we would put on the driver's side seat. And can you see damage to that? Yes, ma'am. And where is that located? What are you documenting in 68J? I'm referring to that piece of metal that goes up and down between the front and the rear door. So in this particular case, that's what we're looking at, as well as the rear passenger side door, kind of just overall showing that there's some damage to that area. Okay, and would you point out where the damage is? Sure. So in this particular photo, we're going to be looking right here at this white spot, also noting that the window is shattered and damaged.
And just what's kind of the emotions coming out of a game where it got away from you the way that it did here?
I mean, just tip my hat to them. Just
The new footage in Lydia Julio's murder case shows the unprofessionalism of his killers and adds to the huge stack of evidence against them. But more than that, remember how the case states that there are 5 suspects in the murder, right?
I tried everything for my stubborn dandruff, and then I found Nizoral. It works differently to get to the root cause of dandruff. Its active ingredient is 10 times more effective at fighting fungus, the primary cause of dandruff. Say goodbye to stubborn dandruff with Nizoral, now in refreshing peppermint and tea tree scent.
I just got a new apartment.
Right? Well, there's been rumors of a potential 6th suspect, and it's someone y'all know. In this video, we're going to go through the new footage going viral and talk about the 6th suspect in the murder of Julio Julio. The Cruz, while Gathright and the Murphy brothers were in the Impala. Surveillance footage later revealed that Chance was using his cell phone to communicate with Gathright, coordinating their movements as they tracked Jones and his entourage from one location to another. At around 4:30 a.m., the Cruz drove by Julio's parked vehicle twice before parking at the side of the Home 2 Suites by Hilton, where Julio and his friends were staying. Moments later, the 3 occupants of the Impala got out and began shooting at his vehicle. The front windshield of the Dodge Charger that Julio was riding in was struck multiple times, killing him and injuring 2 others. The back window of a Nissan Altima, parked about 10 feet away, was also hit, injuring another victim. The shooters used AR-style rifles equipped with brass catchers, devices designed to collect spent casing, preventing them from falling to the ground. However, the 3rd shooter had a fully automatic pistol, leaving behind 31 9mm spent shell casings at the scene. These casings were later determined to have likely been fired by a Generation 5 Glock. The investigation that followed was meticulously thorough. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, in collaboration with the Tampa Police Department, used license plate readers to track the suspect vehicle. They discovered that both the Cruz and the Impala had left Jacksonville on the afternoon of June 22nd, around the same time Jones began posting on Instagram about his whereabouts. On June 26th, the Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office in Georgia located the Cruz in a hotel parking lot in Norcross. Rashad Murphy, the lone occupant, attempted to flee but was arrested on misdemeanor charges of obstruction and providing false information to law enforcement. Examination of the Cruz revealed damage on the rear passenger side, matching the vehicle seen in the surveillance footage at the homicide scene. But the report doesn't show whether Murphy was questioned about the homicide while in Georgia custody. That makes sense because he was soon freed shortly after. That same day, the Impala was found in Polk County in the home of a family member of Gathright. A family member told investigators that Gathright had called on June 23rd, saying he was on his way to visit and arrived in the Impala sometime during the evening. Gathright claimed he had given a ride to a couple of friends, ate dinner at the home, and then returned to Jacksonville in a Toyota 4Runner registered to his mother, leaving the Impala behind but taking some items with him. On June 27th, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office executed search warrants at the homes of Gathright and Chance. At Gathright's home, they found a gun safe containing multiple rifles, including one equipped with a brass catcher and 2 9mm spent casings that matched those found at the scene of Jones's murder. At Chance's home, officers found 2 Glock 9mm pistols and a poster on Chance's bedroom wall depicting a drawing with fists making a thumbs down symbol and the words "bully down." believed to be a reference to Jones. Phone records revealed that after the shooting, Gathright drove the Impala to conceal it at his family member's house in Polk County, while Damian Murphy took the cruise back to Jacksonville. The other three defendants took an Uber. Before we continue, I want to quickly brush y'all on something. The prime suspect, 18-year-old Sean Gathright, is not only linked to this heinous crime, but also to a previous attempt on Julio's life. To fully understand the situation, let's quickly take a trip to October 2023, the year Julio was shot in the foot. Surprisingly, new evidence has surfaced connecting Gathright to that attack as well. Back in October 2023, Julio was the target of a brazen attack. Very early in the morning, he drove out to a convenience store to buy some vape. However, on the way, he was ambushed at a red light, and in the process, he was shot in the foot. This incident was a clear message that Julio's life was in danger. At the time, the identity of the shooter remained a mystery, but the recent investigation into Julio's murder has brought new evidence to light. Do y'all remember back when I said the police found the Chevy Impala? Well, they did their investigation and uncovered links that showed that the spent rifle casings found in Gathwright's vehicle was linked to the prior attempt to kill Jones in October 2023. These shell casings were a crucial piece of evidence, linking Gathright to the previous attempt on Julio's life. This connection was more than just circumstantial. It painted a clear picture of Gathwright's involvement in a series of violent incidents. Gathwright's arrest came during a routine traffic stop. Police found a 9mm pistol, a rifle, and 9 spent cartridge casings from the larger gun in his possession. As you already know, he wasn't acting alone. Isaiah Chance and his girlfriend, Alicia Andrews, were also arrested by the Jacksonville police and brought into custody. At this point, Davion Murphy and Rashad Murphy were still on the run. Good night, Now, if you remember at the start of this video, I told y'all that I was going to show you more on just how dumb these killers were. Well, let's get back to that. The investigation into the Julio Fulio murder case has resulted in the discovery of much evidence on the action of Gathright and his accomplices. However, one that stands out and also paints their stupidity is the new viral leak of a conversation Isaiah Chance had in a Twitter space. If there's a rule every criminal that has existed lives by, it's that the feds are always listening.